Chapter 386. After Sima Yue and the rest came out of the spatial tunnel, they went straight to Anyang City. It seemed like Old Man Devil was quite familiar with this place. You guys go back. Bai Chuan and I will go back up. Yini, you stay here. Old Man Devil said. Master, aren't you coming with us? Sima Yue asked. We can't interfere with your matters here. Whether or not you can survive this calamity is up to you. Old Man Devil said. Why? Sima Yue was confused. This is a convention from above. Old Man Devil said. If we casually meddle in the affairs of the lower realms, we will be attacked by other powers. There's such a convention? Of course, if we meddle in the affairs below, wouldn't the whole world be in chaos? The weak are protected by the heavenly Tao. Old Man Devil blew his beard. Then what about the Sage Pavilion expanding its influence everywhere? Although the Sage Pavilion is expanding its influence everywhere, the upper echelons are still unable to control the lower echelons. In other words, if something were to happen to the Sage Pavilion in the Restless Continent, the higher-ups would not be able to send people down to take care of it. It's just that if they develop the offline, they will be able to obtain even more faith, and the people from the Sage Pavilion from the other continents will be able to directly enter the Sage Pavilion. That is to say, if we destroy the Sage Pavilion in the Restless Continent, the higher-ups would not dare to send people to destroy the Yun and Gua families? Sima Yue understood. That's right. Old Man Devil said. Every continent has its own destiny, and the Elin continent's destiny is the worst. That's why it has become like this after millions of years. This time, only you can resolve this matter by yourselves, but I believe that with you around, it won't be a problem. In a few months, I'll come and take a look. If you're still alive, I'll take you away. We're leaving. After Old Man Devil finished speaking, he opened another tunnel and brought Bai Chuan in. Sima Yue waved her hand and shouted before the tunnel closed. Master, remember to pick us up early. Old Man Devil didn't answer her, and the passageway closed. She didn't know if he heard her. Junior Valley Master, I can't help you if your life isn't in danger. Yuni made her stance clear. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Let's go back to the family first. I hope the family is fine. Sima Yuqing said worriedly. When they returned to the Sima residence, the guards at the gate were rather surprised to see them. These young masters and young mistresses had already left the clan for more than a year. They did not expect that they would return at this time. Young master, young Mississippi, Sima Yulin nodded lightly at them asking, Where's my grandfather? The patriarch is not in the mansion right now, so the young patriarch is temporarily in charge of the family's affairs. The guard said. The young patriarch was Sima Yulin's father. The next patriarch was decided after Sima Tai woke up. Sima Yulin and the others went in to look for their father. Sima Jingren was very happy when he found out that Sima Yulin and the others had returned. Seeing that their power had already surpassed his, he was rather surprised. He sighed and thanked Sima Yu for bringing them out. Father, what happened? Why isn't grandfather and the others here? Sima Yulin asked. Sima Jingren sighed, saying, We've always been paying attention to the situation in the ocean. A month ago, the ocean beasts in the ocean suddenly went crazy and attacked the humans. It's a good thing that we sent people to keep an eye on the situation over there, so we were able to defend in time. Then what's the situation over there? The people from the various powers have all rushed over. Nobody can escape from this kind of situation. Sima Jingren said, But even so, we're still the weaker side. It feels like all the spirit beasts in the ocean have come. Grandfather and the others have all gone? Sima Yulin asked. Those who are spirit overlords and above have all gone. I've just finished arranging things, and am preparing to bring the remaining people over. Sima Jingren said. Let's go together. Sima Yuyang said. Sima Jingren was just about to say that they were too weak and should just stay at home when he suddenly remembered that they were already stronger than him. He nodded, saying, Then let's go. As such, Sima Yu and the others set off again after returning home for less than an hour. This time, they directly flew to a small city near the ocean. Sima Tai, Sima Lin and a group of elders stood on the city wall and observed the situation in the ocean, discussing the current situation. More and more sea beasts are gathering here. Sima Lin said worriedly. What do the other clans say? Sima Tai asked. Every clan says that they're in the same situation, especially the Nalan clan. They say that they can't hold on for much longer. Eldest elder said. There have already been a few big battles and many sea beasts have died. However, they haven't retreated. Instead, there are more and more of them. This is not a good sign. Sima Tai said. The most shocking thing is that those sea beasts are actually able to leave the ocean and come to land. This is too strange. Sima Lai said. Have you guys noticed that those sea beasts have a black mist around them? It's this mist that allows them to fly. Sima Jun said. We have to find the reason why the sea beasts are rioting. It was rare for the Sima family's ancestor to open his mouth, but he hit the nail on the head. The ocean had been peaceful for so many years. The situation that had happened recently was definitely not a coincidence. If they wanted the sea beasts to retreat, they had to find the reason for the rioting. We've already sent people to investigate, but not a single one of them has returned. It's not just us. The other clans have also sent people to investigate, but it's the same situation. Sima Tai said as he furrowed his eyebrows. Yesterday, we sent 2 people to form a small team with the other clans to investigate. If they still can't find anything, then we can only do it ourselves. If only that child Yua was here. She has a sacred beast. She will definitely be able to find the reason. Sima Lin said. But they're still in another continent. There's no point in thinking about them. Sima Tai sighed. Oh, are you thinking about us? Sima Yoyue's voice sounded, causing the group to think that they were hallucinating. Sima Yoyue and the rest came over from the city walls. When they saw Sima Tai and the rest, they smiled and bowed to the elders. Weren't you guys in another continent? When did you come back? Sima Lin asked in surprise. Sima Yue smiled and said, Master sent us back. We went back to the clan and found out that you were all here, so we rushed over. Yulin, did you see your father? Sima Tai asked. Father came with us, but he went to arrange for the people we brought over. Sima Yulin said. Your strength? Sima Lin felt that their auras were very similar to his, and looked at them in disbelief. Especially Sima Yue. Her aura was so strong that even they could not feel it. Didn't this mean that her rank was higher than theirs? Chapter 387. Hearing Sima Lin's words, everyone finally noticed their auras. They had all advanced to the level of spirit supremacy. Everyone was shocked. They had only been gone for a little over a year, but they had actually advanced from Spirit Grandmaster and Spirit Emperor to Spirit Supremacy. What did they encounter after they went out? Was it really that easy to cultivate in the outside world? I got a lot of opportunities, that's why I rose so quickly, Sima Yulin said. Grandfather. Sima Yuming and the others smiled as they walked to Sima Lai's side. When Sima Lai saw that his own grandson's rank was higher than his own, his heart was filled with emotion and pride. In the past few years, his strength had increased rapidly with the help of Sima Yue, but he still hadn't broken through to become a spiritual venerable. Master, I heard you guys talking about me just now. Sima Yue did not forget what they said about how good it would be if she was around. Yes. Sima Tai said, look at the sea. They were now in a city on a cliff by the sea. One of the city walls was on the cliff, and the waves from the sea would sometimes splash at the foot of the wall. Sima Yue and the rest looked at the surface of the sea and realized that it was filled with sea beasts. At a glance, the blue sea had turned black. Furthermore, it wasn't just limited to the city walls, but the entire coastline. Why is there such a venomous sea beast? Sima Yue and the rest were shocked. They did not expect the situation to be so serious. But sea beasts can only swim in the sea. As long as we don't go to the sea, won't we be fine? Fatty Chu asked. But the truth is not like that, Sima Lin said. Could it be that they can fly? Fatty Chu had originally wanted to tease them, but he did not expect the crowd to nod their heads in agreement. Damn, it can really fly? Yes. Sima Tai nodded. I don't know why, but those divine beasts all know how to fly. We've seen faint black lines on their bodies before, so we're guessing that this might be the reason. Then did you find out what that black line was? Sima Yuyang asked. No. We tried to investigate the cause of the sea beast's rampage, but we couldn't find anything. The people we sent out disappeared within 2 days. We guessed that they might have already met with misfortune. That's why we thought that if you were here, you might be able to find out the reason with the sacred beast. If we don't find the cause, I don't know how long this riot will last. Sima Yue frowned when she heard what they said. She instinctively felt that this matter had something to do with Forgotten Worry Island. At this moment, a guard rushed to the top of the city wall and looked around. When he saw Sima Tai and the others, he quickly ran over. Family head, the Sang clan has sent people to deal with us. Our plan has failed again. However, unlike the previous times, the sea beast threw the corpses back. The guard cupped his fists and said, "Damn it!" The elders clenched their fists, enraged by this blatant provocation. That person also said that the other 3 great clans are planning to gather all the leaders of their respective powers for a meeting to discuss their next step. The guard continued. In addition, the Sang clan's patriarch asked him to deliver a letter. "Give it to me," Sima Tai said. The guard took out a letter and handed it to Sima Tai. He opened it and quickly skimmed through it. "Patriarch, what did the letter say?" the great elder asked. "He told me the time and place of the meeting," Sima Tai said. They even said that the Nalan clan was the first to bring up this matter. They guessed that the Nalan clan had suffered heavy losses and wanted to take action. The Nalan clan suffered heavy losses? Did a lot of people die? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Sima Tai smiled. That smile was indescribably treacherous. At that time, the 4 great clans led the other clans, while the Li clan was in charge of providing the pills. I told them the 4 locations and explained the situation at each of them. Then I told them about the situation at one of the locations in a more relaxed manner. That old man from the Nalan clan immediately rushed over. In the end, he discovered that the situation there wasn't as relaxed as I said. In fact, the situation there was worsening, and it became the most serious area. They also suffered the most casualties. Then they didn't cause any trouble for you? Sima Yue didn't believe it. The Nalan clan didn't seem like they would be able to tolerate such a thing. They were clearly trying to scam them. What trouble could there be? When they went there, that place was indeed the most relaxed. The situation only worsened later on. We just didn't tell them about it. What could they say? Sly old fox. Sima Yue muttered. He must have discovered that the place looked the most relaxed now, but there were signs that it would get worse later on. However, he only told them about the current situation and didn't mention the signs. Therefore, the Nalan clan immediately chose that area. They thought that they had picked up a bargain, but they didn't expect to pick up a hot potato. Actually, the Nalan clan did contact the Sima family later on. However, the Sima family members said that they didn't know about it at that time. Moreover, the situation at that place was the worst. They were the ones who fought to go there. It had nothing to do with the Sima family. The Nalan clan was speechless. They knew that the Sima family had scammed them, but they couldn't do anything about it. They could only continue to stay there. Now that the situation was getting worse, they didn't want to maintain the status quo. Therefore, they proposed this meeting. Sima Yue guessed that they might even propose to choose a leader. Where will this meeting be held? The old ancestor of the Sima family asked. In Yi City, where the Nalan clan is stationed. The time is 5 days later. Sima Tai replied. Then who do you plan to bring? Eldest elder asked. Just you and Yulin. I'll just bring 2 more guards. Sima Tai said. The others will stay here and keep an eye on the situation. When he said that he would bring Sima Yue and Sima Yulin, the others didn't have any objections. Knowing that she had a sacred beast by her side, they didn't have to worry about the Nalan clan's tricks. However, there were 10 people who went on the journey because Bei Gong Tang and the others went with them. Wherever Sima Yue went, they would go. There was no teleportation array between Yi City and the small city they were in, so everyone could only sit on flying beasts. They flew along the sea for 4 days before reaching Yi City. The Nalan clan had already sent people to welcome them at the city gates. That was why the Nalan clan knew when they arrived. However, Sima Tai didn't go to meet the Nalan clan. Instead, he brought Sima Yue and the others to an inn to find a place to rest. He didn't give the Nalan clan any face. When the other powers saw this, they couldn't help but purse their lips. This Sima clan was really. However, everyone knew about the grudges between the two clans. They also felt that the Sima clan's actions were reasonable. Yi City was also a city near the sea. Sima Yue had nothing to do on the second day, so she went to the sea with Bei Gongtang and the others to observe the situation. She realized that there were more sea beasts here compared to other places. The situation was much more dangerous. Yue, look. There's something wrong with these sea beasts. Bei Gongtang said as she pointed at the sea. Chapter 388. Sima Yue and the rest also noticed the abnormality in the sea. They nodded and said, "There is indeed something wrong with these sea beasts." Their eyes looked dull. Could it be that they are also being controlled like the spirit beasts in 10,000 Beast Mountain? Fatty Chu guessed. It's possible. Wei Ziqi nodded. Could it be the creature from Forgotten Worry Island that Yue mentioned last time? Ouyang Fei frowned. If that's really the case, then it'll be troublesome. Bei Gongtang said. Yeah. Sima Yue sighed. If that was the case, it would be really troublesome. At that time, Chongming said that although that creature wasn't as strong as the one from 10,000 Beast Mountain, if it wasn't suppressed, he wouldn't have been able to fight against it. She recalled the time when she was in the sea, when she saw the black light devouring the creatures on the island. She still had some lingering fear. Sima Yulin naturally thought of that experience as well, and was equally worried. At this moment, a group of people flew over them. When they saw them on the shore, they stopped for a moment. One of them alighted while the other group continued flying towards Kargalik. Brother Yulin. After Sang Qiongli landed on the ground, he nodded at Sima Yu before looking at Sima Yu saying, "I've been looking for you all this time. Later on, I heard that you left the Yilin continent." Sima Yue was stunned. Looking for her? You've become stronger. Sang Qiongli felt Sima Yue's aura and said, "You're much stronger than before. Have you already entered the Supreme Realm?" Sima Yue nodded. She remembered that this guy wanted to challenge her to a duel, but she didn't accept his challenge. It seemed that he came looking for him to compete with him. Sang Qiongli was shocked to see Sima Yue admit it, but he did not show it on his face. "Brother Qiongli has always been at the coast?" Sima Yulin asked. "Yes, it's been here since the start of the sea beast rampage," Sang Qiongli said. "Then did you discover anything?" Sima Yue asked. Sang Qiongli looked at the sea beasts and said, "They seem to be controlled by something. We also tried to find out the reason why they were being controlled, but the people we sent out didn't find anything. Instead, they never returned. This time, their corpses were directly thrown in front of us. Their deaths were too tragic." Sang Qiongli's voice was trembling. It seemed that he had been greatly provoked by this provocation. "What about the strength of the sea beasts? Are there any changes?" Sima Yue asked. She remembered that Jade had once said that when the beasts of 10,000 Beast Mountain attacked the city, their strength would be a bit stronger than usual. It could be said that the suppressed creatures had added their strength to the spirit beasts and divine beasts. "I heard from people who have dealt with sea beasts that there are no changes." Sang Qiongli understood what Sima Yue meant and replied. "That's better," Sima Yue said. "The most important thing right now is to find out the reason for controlling the sea beasts." Sima Yulin said, "I hope it's not that." "That. Could it be that Brother Yulin knows something?" Sang Qiongli asked. Sima Yulin glanced at Sima Yue. Seeing that she didn't object, he told her about what happened at Forgotten Worry Island. In any case, the Sima family would talk about this during this meeting. He was just saying it in advance. "However, I heard my grandfather say that he tried to send people to Forgotten Worry Island, but they never returned," he added. "Almost none of the people who entered the ocean came back alive," Sang Qiongli said, then looked at Sima Yue and said, "However, you have a sacred beast, so you might be able to." Previously, everyone had placed their hopes on Sima Yue. However, they found out that she had already left the continent for more than a year. They also found out that she had already entered the Divine Devil Valley. However, her identity as a junior valley master was not revealed. Furthermore, her departure from the continent was completed with the help of the Divine Devil Valley. Now that everyone knew that she had returned, They would definitely want to look for her to investigate this matter. Just as the few of them were chatting, the entire ocean started to boil. Those low-ranked sea beasts that had gathered before quickly dispersed. Following that, a group of divine beasts came from afar. When they were about to reach the shore, they suddenly flew into the sky. Oh no! It's the killer whales. Sang Qiongli looked at the killer whales and shouted. At this moment, a long horn sounded in Kargalic. Once the horn sounded, people appeared on the city walls one after another. Seeing the invading sea beasts, the faces of the people on the city walls changed. The killer whales were extremely ferocious. The strength of their tails was extremely strong. Those sharp teeth made people panic. How could it be the killer whales? Aren't these sea beasts rarely seen? Someone shouted. And there are so many of them. I'm afraid we don't have enough manpower. We must immediately send people from nearby. It's too late. There are too many killer whales this time. I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on for long. What do we do now? Could it be that we really can't escape this time? It can't be. There must be a way. What other way is there? There are so many divine beasts attacking, and many of them are 5th level and above. Those are divine beasts with the power of spirit paragons. But look at how many spirit paragons we have. Facing hundreds of divine beasts, these people panicked. Why are there a few youngsters standing over there? Someone noticed Sima Yue and the rest. The others looked over, and indeed saw a few people standing in the distance, staring straight at the approaching group of killer whales. Their motionless looks were as if they were scared silly. It's them. Someone recognized Sima Yue and the rest and laughed loudly, saying, Haha, I'm saved. I'm saved. Are you stupid? There are only a few of them. Why are you so excited? The person who recognized Sima Yue pointed at Sima Yue, as if he saw the hope of survival, saying, That's Sima Yue from the Sima family. It's her. Yue generation? That's the youngest generation in the Sima family, right? Don't tell me you're counting on a little kid to save us? The person who spoke gave the person a look that said you're stupid. You're the stupid one. It's Sima Yue. She has a sacred beast by her side. With a sacred beast by her side, how could anything happen to us? That person said excitedly. I remember now. The Sima family does have a sacred beast. They said that they had already left this continent. I didn't expect her to be here. Then we're really saved. That's great. The people on the city wall were extremely excited. Their gazes towards the killer whales were no longer as fearful. Sima Yue stood by the shore and stared at the killer whales flying over, carefully observing something. Just as Sima Tai and the rest had said, these killer whales had faint black lines wrapped around them, as if they were being dragged out of the sea. But it couldn't be said that it was something that was controlling them. Then her gaze landed on the black clouds that were gradually floating over. She felt that the black clouds were a little strange. Chapter 389. That dark cloud gave her a strange feeling. On the sea, storms and hurricanes were possible, and this kind of dark cloud was very common. However, when she looked at the dark cloud, she felt that it was alive and had followed the sea beasts here. There's something strange about that cloud, she said. The others also looked at the cloud, but they didn't find anything different. He's here. They didn't have time to look at the dark clouds carefully. The killer whales were already close to them. They had to put down their thoughts and fight with the people from the city. Am I seeing things? Are they spiritual paragons? Damn, it's true. They are all spiritual venerables. How old are they? Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Everyone, pay attention to your battle. Be careful not to be eaten by the killer whale. Only when someone reminded them did they come back to their senses and continue to fight their opponents. However, their gazes would occasionally drift towards Sima Yue and the others. Although Sima Yue and the rest were all spiritual paragons, their opponents had many divine beasts of level 5 and above. They called out all of their contracted beasts. Yuni didn't make a move from the beginning. Although she was standing there, no killer whale attacked her. It was as if she didn't exist at all. Although they were stronger, there were still people who died in the battle. Sima Yue unintentionally saw faint figures flying towards the dark clouds. What's that? She watched in surprise as the shadows flew into the dark clouds. She was so shocked that she even forgot about the killer whale in front of her. Fortunately, Little Rock and the others reacted and pulled her away. Yue, be careful. Bei Gongtang, who was at the side, shouted towards Sima Yue after killing a killer whale. Yes. Sima Yue flew onto Little Rock's back and no longer faced the killer whale directly. Instead, she flew to the side and stared intently at the dark clouds. Although those killer whales didn't have their own consciousness, they knew how powerful Sima Yue was and didn't take the initiative to provoke her. Ah. Another spirit master was killed by the killer whale. She looked at the person and saw a faint figure floating out of the body and flying into the dark cloud. She could see the fear and constant struggle on the figure's face. It seemed that the figure was terrified of the dark clouds and wanted to escape but couldn't. Soon, the figure was sucked into the dark clouds. Sima Yue could even see his distorted face before he was sucked into the dark clouds. What was going on? She looked at the dark clouds with a solemn expression. Yue, what are you looking at? Bei Gongtang flew over. Her condition really made people feel uneasy. Did you see those shadows being sucked into the dark clouds? She looked at Bei Gongtang and asked. Shadow? What shadow? Bei Gong looked at Sima Yue, not knowing what she was talking about. You guys didn't see it? She was surprised. Was she the only one who saw it? Ah. Another person died, and the same scene repeated itself. Look, that shadow. She pulled on Bei Gongtang's arm and pointed at the shadow. Bei Gongtang followed her finger and looked, but still didn't see anything. Fatty Chu had just finished off his opponent and was caught by Sima Yue. She wanted him to see the shadow. I didn't see anything. Yue, what did you want me to see? The answer was the same as Bei Gongtang's, nothing. Sima Yue was sure that she was the only one who could see those shadows. Those powerful killer whales were killed by Sima Yue and her contracted beasts. In addition to the people gathered in the city, the battle ended very quickly. Fresh blood dyed the entire sea red. The low-leveled sea beasts that surrounded the area all gathered in the distance and didn't come near anymore. And that dark cloud slowly floated away, just like how it came. Other than the few of them, no one else paid attention to it. Sima Yue looked at the dark clouds with a grave expression. Yue, what did you see just now? Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yue. It didn't seem like she was trying to scare everyone. She seemed to have seen something that no one could see. Let's talk about it when we get back, Sima Yue said. She looked at Yuni and saw that Yuni was also looking at the dark clouds. Her eyes flashed. They returned to the inn in Yi City. Sang Qiongli also wanted to know what Sima Yue saw just now, so he followed along. Sima Tai didn't go to battle. He knew that with Sima Yue around, nothing would happen. But he still went out and saw that Sima Yue and the rest were acting strangely from afar. When Sima Yue and the rest returned, the first thing he said was, "Did you discover something?" Sima Yue didn't expect that Sima Tai would know that she saw something even though they weren't together. She nodded and said, Indeed. When we were fighting just now, I realized that there was a faint shadow floating out from the bodies of those who died. Those shadows were sucked into the dark clouds. What? Everyone was shocked. Why didn't they see any shadows? You said that those shadows all entered the dark clouds? Sima Tai asked. Yes. Sima Yue said confidently. Those shadows seemed to be very afraid of the dark clouds. They kept struggling but to no avail. In the end, they were all sucked into the dark clouds. What are those shadows? Are they the souls of those people? Fatty Chu guessed. That's possible. Then why did the dark clouds suck their souls in? Everyone couldn't understand and couldn't guess what was going on. Yuni, do you know something? Sima Yue thought of Yuni's expression and felt that he should know something. I'm not sure. I can only come to a conclusion after seeing it. Yuni said. But I'm more curious. Even I didn't see the shadow you mentioned. Why are you the only one who noticed it? Sima Yue was stunned. That's right. Why was she the only one who saw those shadows? If even you can't see it, how can I see it? You're much stronger than me. Could it be that she was reborn, and that was why she could see it? Maybe this matter has something to do with it, Sima Tai said. It would be great if we could investigate this. Clan head, let me investigate. Sima Yue said. If I'm the only one who can see it, I'm the most suitable person to investigate. Previously, she thought that this matter had something to do with the creature on Forgotten Worry Island. However, it seemed that it was because of the dark clouds. However, no one could say for sure whether the dark clouds had anything to do with that creature. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. A guard walked in and said, Clan head, the Nalan clan has sent someone to invite you. They said that they're holding a meeting in advance. It seemed that today's matter had made the Nalan clan even more afraid, and they wanted to change the situation. Sima Tai stood up and said, since they've invited us, let's go over. Yue Yulin, the two of you come with me. Chapter 390. Sima Yue and the rest followed the Nalan family to a mansion. This mansion was probably the biggest mansion in the entire Kargalik. It was now the headquarters of the Nalan family. Sima family head, the other family heads have already arrived. Our family head is waiting for you inside. The guard who led the way said. Because Sima Tai walked very slowly and lived far away, by the time they arrived, the other forces had already arrived. It's getting harder and harder to meet the head of the Sima family. Everyone is here, waiting for you. As soon as he entered the hall, a sarcastic voice sounded. Sima Yue looked in the direction of the voice and saw an old woman sitting in the middle. She was staring at them coldly. Who is that? She asked Sima Yulin softly. It should be the ancestor of the Nalan clan. Sima Yulin guessed based on where she was sitting. This matter was a very serious test for the entire continent, so all the ancestors of the various clans came out of seclusion. Sima Tai didn't seem to mind the old woman's words, saying, the inn we're staying at is far from here. My grandnephew just finished participating in the battle this afternoon, so I spent a bit of time comforting him. Sorry for being late. Although he said that, there was no apology in his words at all. Speaking of this battle, this is the first time such a ferocious sea beast like the killer whale has appeared, right? Someone brought the topic to the battle. Not only that, this time there are more mythological beasts than before. If it wasn't for the little friends of the Sima family and their friends and contracted beasts, I'm afraid the entire city would be in danger. Speaking of this, everyone remembered that this group of young people and their contracted beasts were all spiritual venerables. When they thought about how much effort they had put into the battle today, everyone didn't mind that they were late. The Nalan family head sat beside the old woman and said, everyone can see that today's situation is actually quite dangerous. Because of the lack of coordination, our strength here is relatively weak. Everyone was almost wiped out. The situation is indeed quite dangerous. Everyone agreed. The Nalan family's head saw everyone's reaction, and the corner of his mouth slightly raised into a smile as he said, situations like this also happen in other places from time to time. When the people nearby received the news and rushed over, the casualties were already very serious. The death of every human weakens our combat strength. This is a huge loss for us humans, but this loss can be avoided. How can we avoid it? Someone asked. If we can integrate all the fighting forces into one and make a unified arrangement, this kind of unequal distribution of forces will not occur. The Nalan family head said. Patriarch Nalan, you mean to say that we should unite all the powers, form an alliance, and then choose a leader? Patriarch Hua said. That's exactly what I meant. Nalan family had nodded. To form an alliance, my Hua clan wholeheartedly supports this suggestion. The Hua clan's patriarch said. My Sang clan also agrees. The Sang clan head said. We also agree. Family Headley said. Everyone's attention was focused on Sima Tai. If the 5 great clans agreed to this matter, then the remaining forces naturally wouldn't have any objections. Why are you all looking at me? Sima Tai leaned back in his chair and said, this is something beneficial to mankind. My Sima family naturally agrees. The Nalan family head saw that Sima Tai agreed so easily and was somewhat surprised. However, he didn't show it too much and said, what about the others? We agree. Agree. Everyone present agreed with this suggestion, and no one objected. Good. The Nalan family head waved his hand, and everyone quieted down. He continued, since no one has any objections, Then let's choose a leader. He will lead everyone to fight against the sea beasts. Good. Everyone nodded. I wonder if there is anyone in mind for the position of leader? The Nalan family head asked. Naturally, only the strongest person can take on this heavy responsibility, someone said. Naturally, the Nalan family's ancestor is the most suitable. Right, our Nalan family's ancestor is the strongest here. Naturally, she should be the leader. The others agreed. That's right. The Nalan family people all laughed. They expected that the ancestors of the great clans wouldn't personally attend this meeting. That's why they let their own ancestors attend. With these people's words, the position of leader naturally belonged to their Nalan family. Once they became the leader, they would definitely send the Sima family to the front and let them have a taste of being the vanguard. The old woman laughed and said, "This old woman is just a bag of old bones. How can I take on this heavy responsibility?" Nalan family head, you don't need to be humble. Other than you, who else can take the position of leader? That's right. This position belongs to none other than you, Nalan family head. Nalan family head saw that everyone was saying this and said awkwardly, "Since everyone is saying this, then this old woman will respectfully. If we're talking about the strongest, then it should be the Sima family Sima Yue, right?" Nalan family head's words were interrupted and the last sentence was stuck in her throat. "Who's Sima Yue?" someone asked. The smile on Nalan family head's face froze as she looked at the person who spoke. It was Sang Qiongli. "Sima Yue, the Yue generation. You're the youngest generation of the Sima family, right?" She looked at the Nalan family head and asked. "Yes, old ancestor." The Nalan family head replied. "How many years has a young person cultivated? How can such a person be the strongest? You little brat, don't spout nonsense. Just stand behind your parents and listen." Someone was unhappy. Sima Yue did not expect Sang Qiongli to mention her name. She raised her head and looked at Sang Qiongli. Not only her, but everyone else also looked at him. Sang Qiongli did not get angry and explained. "You only said that she is the strongest. You didn't say whether it was her own cultivation or external help. This Sima Yue's strength is something that many of you cannot compare to. Just based on the fact that she has contracted a sacred beast, she is better than everyone here." Sacred beast. That's right, I've heard that a sacred beast appeared in our continent and was contracted by someone. I didn't expect it to be contracted by a young person from the Sima family. The Yilin continent was so big, and not everyone knew Sima Yue. Now that they heard that she was the one who had contracted the sacred beast, they all had different thoughts. If they were to calculate it that way, she was indeed the strongest person here. Her sacred beast was enough to kill everyone present. The Nalan family did not expect that someone would come out of nowhere. Just as they were about to get the position of the alliance head, something like this happened. This Sima Yue is still young. If she is to take the position of the alliance head, I'm afraid that she is not experienced enough, the Nalan family head said with a black face. Chapter 391. Sima Yue wasn't interested in the position of the chief, but she couldn't let the Nalan family become the chief. Otherwise, the Sima family would be in danger. Therefore, when she heard the Nalan family head's question, she casually replied, "It doesn't matter whether I have experience or not, as long as my family has prestige in Chongming." After saying that, she even called out Chongming. The moment Chongming appeared, the aura of this sacred beast enveloped the entire hall. Seeing Chongming, the faces of the Nalan clan members turned even darker. His appearance indicated that their chances of seizing the position of alliance head were slim. Sima Yue looked at the Nalan clansmen and gave them a big smile, saying, "Also, if I become the alliance leader, I will naturally listen to everyone's opinions and will not act arbitrarily." After saying that, she glanced at the patriarch of the Li family. The head of the Li family stiffened and said, "We support little friend Yue. We also support our young friend Yue." The Sang clan leader said. The Hua family also expressed their support for Sima Yue. "We also support Yue." The South Eclipse Emperor, who had been very quiet all this time, said. "We are the same." The West Moon Imperial family said. The people who said that they supported old ancestor Nalan were originally people arranged by the Nalan family themselves. They were all forces that were usually on good terms with them. Those important forces didn't say anything at all. Now that they had unanimously expressed their willingness to support Sima Yue, the Nalan family's faces were even darker than the bottom of a pot. This was a blatant slap to their family's face. Seeing that their bosses had expressed their support, the people who were usually on good terms with the big families all expressed their willingness to support Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at the Nalan family head's face and smiled even more brilliantly, saying, "There should be more than half of them, right? Since that's the case, I'll accept your offer and become the leader of this alliance." "Greetings, Alliance Master." Some people bowed to her, and even the Hua and Sang family heads nodded to her, officially acknowledging her current status. No matter how much the Nalan family objected, they couldn't go against the wishes of so many people, and could only acknowledge her status. "I heard that the Alliance Master left the Yilin continent, and just came back a few days ago. I'm sure you don't understand the current situation? How do you plan to arrange the people from the various powers?" the Nalan family head asked. I was just about to talk about this matter when Nalan family head asked. "It seems that he is more concerned about this issue." Sima Yu smiled, saying, "It's just as the Nalan clan leader said just now. As the alliance leader, I only have Halcyon's prestige, but I don't have your 100 years of experience. That's why I plan to choose a vice alliance leader, and let him arrange the manpower. When I'm not around, our alliance will be under his control." Hearing Yue's, Sima Yue had a bad premonition. As Yang S confirmed Est was right. My family head's strength and ability is clear for all to see, so I think there shouldn't be any problems with him being the vice as leader, right? Sima Yue said. Everyone wanted to say that there was a problem. If the leader and vice leader's positions were to be taken by the Sima family, wouldn't that be monopolizing everything? But when they saw Halcyon by her side, they swallowed their words of objection, and swallowed it down their throats to express that they had no objections. Since that's the case, then it's decided. Chongming is in charge of overseeing the alliance. If there's anyone who's not willing to follow orders, then it's a challenge to his authority, Sima Yue said. And the vice leader's in charge of everything. When I'm not around, he'll have my authority. I hope everyone can cooperate well. Yes, of course. Sima Yue looked around and said. I'll say the ugly words first. If there's anyone who's dissatisfied and wants to go against the vice's leader's orders, resulting in heavy losses, don't come looking for me. Chongming and I aren't people with good tempers. If there's any accident, don't blame me for not warning you. Everyone was speechless. This threat was so obvious. Alliance leader, can't you be more tactful? We understand the alliance leader's meaning. Nalan family head said unhappily, but since everyone is here to discuss how to deal with these sea beasts, what plans does the alliance leader have? Nalan family head, the alliance leader said just now that the vice's leader will be in charge of all the arrangements. Are you asking the alliance leader this now to make things difficult for him? Or did you not listen to the alliance leader? Hua family head said. How can I not listen to the alliance leader? I just feel that it's better for the alliance leader to understand the situation. Sitting in this position without knowing anything about the situation, it's hard for the other spirit masters to be convinced. Nalan family head quibbled. Sima Yue smiled and said, Nalan family head is right. However, it's not like I don't know anything. Then how much does the alliance leader know? It's a coincidence that I was the first to notice the abnormality in the ocean. Sima Yue said, 3 years ago my grandfather and I just returned to the family. There was one time when we went to Forgotten Worry Island to look for a few medicinal ingredients. We just happened to encounter the incident that happened on Forgotten Worry Island. She explained the situation in detail, making everyone present feel the terrifying power of the black light. It's because of this incident that the Sima family realized that the ocean was not peaceful these past few years. I think my family head has the right to speak on this matter. Sima Yue continued. That's right. Sima Tai continued her words and said, we didn't mention this incident back then because it was too terrifying. We didn't dare to mention it so as to avoid scaring everyone. Then why did you say it now? Someone questioned. Because the Alliance leader is back. Sima Tai glanced at that person and said, if the Alliance leader didn't come back, we wouldn't have a sacred beast. Who would dare to touch this matter? Thinking about it, they couldn't even walk 10,000 nautical miles out of the ocean, much less enter Forgotten Worry Island. However, we still need to verify whether this is the reason for the chaos of the ocean beasts this time. Sima Yue said, the ocean has always been peaceful. There must be a reason for this to happen. Only when we find the reason can we completely solve this problem. I've decided to bring Chongming to the ocean to investigate. You guys have to hold the fort at the seaside. I don't want to wait for my return to find that you guys have already lost your fort. Alliance leader, don't worry. We will do our best to protect the continent. Someone said. Alliance leader, this trip is dangerous. Who are you bringing? Zhang Qiongli asked. The road ahead is dangerous, so I want to bring as few people as possible. Sima Yue seemed to think for a while before replying. Originally, I wanted to go alone. Ordinary people would only be a burden. However, now that I've seen Elder Naylan, I would like to invite Elder Naylan to go with me. I wonder if Elder Naylan would be willing to help find out the cause of this incident. Chapter 392. Elder Naylan did not expect Sima Yue to speak in front of everyone. How could she say no under such circumstances? Of course not. Otherwise, the Naylan clan would become the laughingstock of the entire continent. Since the Alliance head says so, this old one will follow the Alliance head on this trip. Lao Ziyu. Naylan Jia looked at Sima Yue angrily. She must not have asked the Laozu to come with good intentions, but the Laozu actually agreed. Alliance Master, I'm willing to go with the Elder Ancestor, he volunteered. You. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, forget it. You're too weak. You'll only drag us down if you go. Naylan Jia almost couldn't breathe, but he couldn't refute. Everyone had been on the same starting line for more than a year, but in the blink of an eye, she had left them so far behind and was already looking at them from a higher position. I'll go with you. Sima Yulin said. All right. Sima Yue nodded and said to the people present, it's an emergency. I'll go with them to check the situation. I'll leave the matters here to you. Alliance head, don't worry. We will discuss this properly. Sima Tai said. Sima Yue understood what Sima Tai meant. It seemed like the Naylan clan had no chance of leaving this place. Ancestor Naylan, time is of the essence. Let's go, she urged. Elder Ancestor Naylan stood up reluctantly. She originally wanted to find an excuse for Sima Yue to not go, but she didn't expect that Sima Yue would leave now. How could she say it? How could Sima Yue not know what old Ancestor Naylan was planning? That was why she asked to set off now. She took out the Mother Sunstone and contacted Wei Ziqi and the others. They agreed to meet at the city gate, and then left with the extremely unwilling Elder Naylan. When they reached the city gates, Wei Ziqi and the others were already waiting for them. Seeing old Ancestor Naylan, they were a little surprised. Why did she bring such a cold old woman with her? Yue, who is she? Fatty Chu asked. This is the elder ancestor of the Naylan clan. He will be going to the sea with us. Sima Yue said. Let's prepare to go out to sea. Wait. Elder Naylan opened her mouth to stop them, then looked at Wei Ziqi and the others unkindly, saying, they want us to go together. Yes. I don't agree. Ancestor Naylan directly refused, saying, their strength is so low, they will only drag us down if they go. She had agreed to go with Sima Yulin in order to find a chance to destroy him. After all, the sea was dangerous and they might not be able to protect him all the time. But if there were too many people, it would lower the standard. They might even be in danger. Sima Yu sneered, saying, I'm afraid it's not up to you to say yes or no. Don't forget, I'm the Alliance Master. Or are you saying that you want to disobey my orders as soon as we leave everyone's sight? Alliance Master? Fatty Chu and the rest looked at her, not knowing what had happened while they were gone. Those spirit masters who were dealing with the corpses of the sea beasts all looked over in confusion. Elder Naylan glared at those people, and the pressure of a spirit paragon made them unable to breathe. They all lowered their heads. She turned around and looked at Sima Yue, saying, since Alliance Master insists, Don't blame me for not warning you if anything happens. I don't need you to remind me. Sima Yue was too lazy to bother with her. She called out Little Rock and brought them up, heading towards the depths of the sea. It was only after they left that those spirit masters finally raised their heads and sighed as they looked at their backs. When Little Rock was flying, he released his own pressure. Those lower-ranked sea beasts did not dare to come out, allowing them to fly peacefully for an entire night. However, this was just the beginning. When they entered the depths of the sea, Little Rock had no choice but to retract his pressure, because there were already many divine beasts in the area they were in. Releasing his pressure would be seen as a provocation, and would attract even more sea beasts. If it was in the past, Sima Yue would definitely not care, because those sea beasts could only stay in the sea and could not cause any harm to them. However, now that they could fly, it was rather dangerous. There's a patch of dark clouds. Bei Gong Tang pointed to the sky to the left. The sky was clear and there were no clouds for thousands of miles. This patch of dark clouds was especially eye-catching under the blue sky. Let's go over and take a look. Sima Yue instructed Little Rock. They quickly approached that patch of dark clouds and circled it a few times. They did not find anything different from normal dark clouds. Should we go into the dark clouds to take a look? Fatty Chu said. Okay. Sima Yue also had the same idea. Wait. Uni, who had been quiet all this time, spoke up to stop them. What's wrong, Uni? Sima Yue asked. Try attacking this dark cloud first. Uni said. Sima Yue was a little confused, but she still listened to her and condensed her spirit energy to attack the dark cloud. Pf dash, squeak dash. When her attack entered the dark cloud, it did not disperse like normal dark clouds. Instead, it seemed to have been swallowed by the dark cloud and let out a strange sound. The sound was extremely sharp and caused goosebumps to rise on everyone's skin. Damn, what kind of dark cloud is this? It's so strange. Fatty Chu cried out. So strange. Ouyang Fei and the others were also surprised. Again. Sima Yulin said. Okay. Sima Yue got Little Rock to fly a little further away, and then launched an even more powerful attack. Squeak dash, the dark cloud let out an even sharper sound than before, and the sound was so loud that it hurt their ears. Not good. Chongming cried out, and quickly set up a barrier, enveloping them all. The sound was cut off once they were inside the barrier, and Little Rock brought the few of them into the water. Sima Yulin quickly called out his flying beast and caught everyone, avoiding the danger of falling into the water. The few of them lay on the back of the flying beast, their bodies weak, and their heads in pain. After a long while, Sima Yue finally recovered. Seeing that they were still weak, she took out a pill and distributed it to everyone. This was a pill that had been added with soul fluid, and had an absolute healing effect on soul injuries. The sharp sound just now seemed to have hurt their hearing, but in reality, it had pierced their souls, which was why they felt so uncomfortable. After eating the pill, everyone slowly recovered, but they still had lingering fears about the situation just now. What was that thing? Elder Nalan was the oldest, so she had suffered the most damage. Even after eating Sima Yue's pill, she still had no energy. Sima Yue also felt that it was a little hard to understand. Wasn't that a dark cloud? How could this kind of attack appear? She saw Uni's expression and asked, Uni, do you know what that is? Chapter 393. Uni looked at the dark cloud floating away and said, Let's catch up with it first. I'll tell you what it is later. All right. The flying beast led everyone in the direction of the dark clouds. The dark clouds drifted away quickly, leaving Sima Yue and the rest far behind. If it wasn't for the fact that the sky was cloudless and the dark clouds were too conspicuous, they wouldn't have been able to catch up. Ancestor Nalan didn't pay much attention to Uni before, because she couldn't feel his aura. Moreover, he came out with Wei Ziqi and the others, so she didn't pay attention to him after glancing at him. Now that she saw him, a sense of fear rose from her heart. Uni, can you tell us what it is now? Sima Yue asked. Uni looked at the dark clouds and said seriously, If I'm not wrong, that's a soul-devouring beast. Soul-devouring beast. Upon hearing this name, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. What kind of spirit beast is the soul-devouring beast? I've never heard of it before, Fatty Chu asked. The soul-devouring beast is a type of dark spirit beast. In the past, it was only found in the devil realm and the ghost realm. But from what I've read in ancient books, the devil realm and ghost realm didn't have soul-devouring beasts for a long time, Uni said. If it's not in the devil realm or the ghost realm, where did this soul-devouring beast come from? Sima Yue frowned. Since it involved the devil realm and the ghost realm, the situation was extraordinarily complicated. At the same time, she contacted Mo Sha in her mind and asked him about the soul-devouring beast in the devil realm. Soul-devouring beast? When Mo Sha heard Sima Yue mention this, he said, "A million years ago, there were indeed soul-devouring beasts in the devil realm. However, because it could absorb souls and was too savage, it was exterminated by the entire devil clan. Logically speaking, the soul-devouring beast should no longer exist in the devil realm. How do you know about the soul-devouring beast?" Sima Yue told him about how she saw the dark cloud absorbing the souls, and how she was attacked. Mo Sha was silent for a while, saying, "From what you're saying, it should be a soul-devouring beast without a doubt. However, why would a soul-devouring beast appear in the Yilin continent? This point is inconceivable." "Why? Because soul-devouring beasts can't live in the world of light for a long time. It's impossible for soul-devouring beasts to grow in the human continent. That is to say, this soul-devouring beast came from another place, but the devil realm and ghost realm cannot easily break through the barrier in between." Mo Sha explained, "So if the soul-devouring beast came over, there must be some powerful person controlling it." Sima Yue was even more worried when she heard what he said. And most importantly, why would the soul-devouring beast come here to devour human souls? What's the purpose? Is it related to the devil realm or ghost realm? Mo Sha added. "We can't lock up that world for the time being. We have to deal with that soul-devouring beast first." Sima Yue said. "Can you deal with that soul-devouring beast? That thing seemed to be very powerful. Just its cry was enough to injure their souls." "I can't," Mo Sha said. "If I had a physical body, it wouldn't be a problem. But right now, I'm just a spirit body. Spirit beasts are the natural nemesis of spirit bodies. No matter how strong they are, they will be restrained." Then what's the weakness of spirit beasts? She couldn't rely on Mo Sha, so she could only look for an attack. Actually, dark-type spirit beasts have two natural nemeses, Mo Sha said. "What?" "Fire and lightning." Mo Sha said. "I can't deal with this soul-devouring beast, but there's someone by your side who can. Go find him." After he finished speaking, Mo Sha cut off the connection and returned to silence. Sima Yue knew who he was talking about. It was the sovereign of fire that had always been sleeping in her body, Qi Yan. However, she had never seen Qi Yan when she was awake. This guy had always been sleeping. If she wanted him to deal with the soul-devouring beast, she could only wake him up. Sima Yue cut off the conversation with Mo Sha, and heard Uni telling the others about the soul-devouring beast. This soul-devouring beast can control spirit beast spirits, so they can't help but attack humans. After killing them, it will take the opportunity to devour their spirits. Then was that dark cloud just now a soul-devouring beast? Why does its original body look like that? Fatty Chu said. "That shouldn't be its original body." Uni said. "The ancient books said that the soul-devouring beast would usually split its body into many parts and let these parts devour spirits. Then it would fuse together to gain strength. That dark cloud was only a part of its body, but it was able to injure all of us. How powerful would its original body be?" Bei Gongtang said in astonishment. "No matter how powerful it is, it will be restricted by the rules here. Its strength can only be below that of a spirit paragon. There's nothing to be afraid of." Elder Nayland snorted coldly. "Since Elder Nayland said this, you must be very confident. Then I'll leave this thing to you to deal with," Sima Yue said with a smile. Elder Nayland didn't think that Sima Yue would actually say this. Just as she was about to retort, she was choked back by Fatty Chu. Elder Nayland is so powerful. You definitely won't say no," Fatty Chu said with a smile. "What do you know, humph?" Elder Nayland couldn't finish her sentence. She glared at Fatty Chu and didn't say anything. When the others saw her like this, they lowered their heads and laughed. The flying beasts followed the dark cloud and flew. A few days later, they passed through the sea and saw a group of small islands. The dark cloud flew into the small islands and disappeared. The one in front was the one that Sima Yue had been to before. Forgotten Worry Island. Sima Yue and Sima Yulin said blankly as they looked at the small island. This is Forgotten Worry Island? Fatty Chu and the others looked at the small island and didn't see anything special. However, when they thought of the scene that Sima Yue had described, everyone was a little afraid of this small island. Elder Nalan looked at Forgotten Worry Island and asked, "Is this really Forgotten Worry Island?" Sima Yue nodded. Did that dark cloud really enter this small island? Although we were far away, we all saw it disappear here. Wei Ziqi said. Then should we go to the island? Sima Yulin asked. Yes, how can we not go? If we don't go, how can we find that spirit beast? Sima Yue said. But that soul-gnawing beast is so powerful. If we go to the island, won't it attack us? Elder Nalan said disapprovingly. What's wrong with that? Elder Nalan, didn't you say that spirit beasts aren't scary? Fatty Chu said unconcernedly. However, Elder Nalan almost fell off the flying beast. Let's go. Sima Yue got Sima Yulin to keep the flying beast and brought everyone to Forgotten Worry Island. Emo Sha said that soul-gnawing beast should be injured. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in such a hurry to return to its main body. If they could find it at this time, they would be able to get rid of it easily. How could she miss such a good opportunity? Chapter 394. Seeing that Sima Yue and the others had gone down, old ancestor Nalan had no choice but to follow. That soul-gnawing beast was so powerful. If she was alone, who knows what would happen? It was better to follow them. At least there was a sacred beast with them. Sima Yue and the others arrived at the same place as when they first came to the island. When she saw the big rock, she couldn't help but think of Junlin and Xianyuan Pavilion. Back then they had met here, but not long after, there was no news of him. He didn't know where he was now, or if he was trapped again. Yu, where are we going to find that soul-devouring beast? Fatty Chu asked. I'll send someone to investigate first. Sima Yue did not dare to step into the depths of Forgotten Worry Island, so she called out a swarm of scarlet bees and got them to fly around the island to gather information. They waited at the edge of the island. Since the soul-devouring beast was here, there might be other spirit beasts as well. It would be unwise to go in without understanding the situation. Yu, don't you feel that this place is a little different from the last time? Sima Yulin looked around and asked. You felt it too. Sima Yue said. What's different here? Fatty Chu ran to Sima Yue's side to seek a sense of security. Sound, Sima Yue said. Voice. Fatty Chu didn't understand. What was so different about this voice? This place is strangely quiet. Beigong Tang said. Other than the sound of the waves crashing against the shore, there are no other sounds around. Ouyang Fei said. It's as if there isn't a single living thing here. Wei Ziqi was shocked. Sima Yu and Sima Yulin exchanged glances. This was too strange. Don't tell me that the black light you mentioned before ate all the creatures here? Fatty Chu said. I don't think so. Sima Yue shook her head. We saw that the black light only sucked in the spirit beasts, but not the other animals. But now there's not even the sound of butterflies or bees on the island. Could it be that something killed those animals? Beigong Tang said. Could it be a soul-devouring beast? Wei Ziqi guessed. Possibly. Sima Yulin said. Let's wait and see what the bees bring back, Sima Yue said. However, after a long time, those scarlet bees did not return. Sima Yue called out the scarlet queen bee, but it said that it had lost contact with the scarlet bees. That was a few hundred scarlet bees, which was definitely a very strong team outside, but after entering the small island, they had silently lost contact with them. Are they all dead? Sima Yue asked. No. The scarlet queen bee said. I can still feel their life force, but I can't contact them. I think someone might have blocked the connection between our souls. It should be a soul-gnawing beast. Sima Yulin said. Maybe it's being controlled by it. Beigong Tang said. What should we do now? Everyone looked at Sima Yue, waiting for her to make a decision. At this moment, a buzzing sound was heard. They looked towards the source of the sound, only to see a few hundred scarlet bees attacking them, catching people and wanting to sting them. Every single bee's eyes were empty and lifeless. One look and you could tell that they were being controlled. When Ancestor Nalan saw the scarlet bees flying towards her, she condensed her spirit chi and was about to attack them. However, before she could use her spirit skill, she felt the environment change. They went from the small island to a vast and boundless place. Where is this? She looked at her surroundings in shock. However, nobody answered her. They were all beside Sima Yue, looking at the scarlet bees that she had brought in. When the scarlet bees attacked, Sima Yue brought them into the spirit pagoda, bringing Elder Nalan in as well. The moment those scarlet bees entered, Sima Yue locked them into a transparent spherical container. They bumped into the container carelessly, looking outside with fierce eyes, revealing a sense of ruthlessness. It was not like how they usually were. Little spirit, cut off all contact with the outside world. Completely isolate the outside aura, Sima Yue ordered. Okay. Little spirit replied. After that, those scarlet bees quietened down and stopped bumping into the container. They also stopped glaring at them fiercely. Sorry, Master. We apologize for our actions just now. The leader of the scarlet bees apologized to Sima Yue guiltily. They actually wanted to attack their own master. To a contracted beast, this was a shameful act. You're just being controlled. Sima Yue did not blame them. Then she said to the Scarlet Queen Bee, "Go and see what they went through just now." Okay. The Scarlet Queen Bee flew to the middle of the group of scarlet bees and chose a few. She grabbed their tentacles and used her consciousness to read their memories. Sima Yue closed her eyes at the same time. She was able to see everything that the Scarlet Queen Bee saw. After those scarlet bees left, they flew towards the depths of the island. Just as Sima Yue and the others said, they did not see a single living creature on the island. There were only a few charred plants and a few insect corpses. The scarlet bees continued to fly towards the depths. Suddenly they saw a black fog. That fog was rolling thickly. Suddenly, a pair of blood-red eyes opened from the black fog and looked over. The blood-red eyes caused Sima Yue to shiver uncontrollably. Suddenly, the black fog surged over and quickly wrapped around the scarlet bees. After that, they only saw endless darkness. The Scarlet Queen Bee retreated. After the scarlet bees were controlled, they did not leave behind any memories. Sima Yue opened her eyes and told them what she saw. Looks like that black fog was the soul-gnawing beast. Sima Yulin said. The scarlet bees looked like those sea beasts when they came back. It looks like those sea beasts were controlled by the soul-gnawing beast. Could this soul-gnawing beast be the one that you saw a few years ago? Ouyang Fei asked. I don't think so. Sima Yue shook her head. The aura of the two is different. The feeling it gives me is different as well. It doesn't feel like the same spirit beast. If we want to know why the soul-gnawing beast appeared here, we have to find it first, Sima Yulin said. We can only do this for now, Sima Yue said. It's a good thing that we already know where the soul-gnawing beast is. We have to go over carefully. Then what about her? Bei Gongtang looked at Elder Nalan, who was still sighing at this good place. Elder Nalan felt that everyone was looking at her. She turned around and kept the greed in her eyes. She returned to her usual evil self and asked, "Where is this?" "In my space," Sima Yue said. "Your space?" Elder Nalan's eyes shone. She lowered her head and could not hide the greed in her eyes. Chapter 395. That's right. The spirit pagoda that I obtained can contain life and grow herbs. Sima Yue nodded. How did you get such a good treasure? Ancestor Nalan couldn't hide the excitement in her heart, and the wrinkles on her face deepened because of her smile. You don't have to worry about that. Sima Yue sneered at Elder Ancestor Nalan. As expected, this old fellow was plotting against him. But didn't she know that he had no intention of letting her out after bringing her in? And I won't ask, Ancestor Nalan said with a smile. What did it matter who owned it in the past when it was in her hands? But perhaps it was because she didn't like to smile in the past, so when she smiled now, it looked like a sinister smile. Old ancestor Nalan. You can't be having ideas about Yue, right? Fatty Chu looked at her wrinkled face and said in disgust. How could that be? How could that be? This is the Alliance Master's treasure. How could I dare to have any bad intentions? Elder Nalan hurriedly denied. Now that they still had the sacred beast, even if he had such thoughts, he could not express it. Actually, it doesn't matter if you really want to hit on me, Sima Yue said with a smile. Ancestor Nalan's heart shook, and an ominous premonition filled her heart. As expected, Sima Yue's words proved her intuition right. I don't care if you have any designs on me. Since I let you in, I have no intention of letting you out. You can only think of today. Sima Yue looked at her with murderous eyes. Ancestor Nalan glared at Sima Yue and said, You want to kill me? Don't you forget, I'm the Nalan family's old ancestor, and you're merely a brat. If you dare to make a move against me, my Nalan family is not to be trifled with. Let's see how you explain this to the entire continent. You make yourself sound so important. Fatty Chu scoffed. I'll just say that you were accidentally eaten by a soul-devouring beast when you were searching for information, or accidentally eaten by sea beasts when you were surrounded and attacked by sea beasts. Sima Yue said. Do you think those people will suspect me? Ancestor Nalan subconsciously took a step back and looked at Sima Yue calmly. Although I wanted to be the alliance leader, I didn't say anything when others wanted you. Why do you want to kill me? Could it be that it was just to silence the witnesses, so that no one would know about this treasure? Yes and no. Sima Yue kindly explained to her. As the saying goes, don't show off your wealth. Now that you know about it, of course I can't let you go out and publicize it, right? But he also came in. Ancestor Nalan pointed at Uni. Uni is my man. I trust him, so I can bring him in. Sima Yue said. But you're different. You're my enemy. How can I let you go out alive? Sima Yue, I didn't expect you to be so ruthless. Ancestor Nalan scolded. Ruthless? Sima Yue wasn't angry. Instead, she laughed even more happily. No, if I'm not ruthless to my enemies, do I have to wait for them to bite me and stab me with a knife? Moreover, when your Nalan clan wanted to kill me, you should have thought of this. Ancestor Nalan's heart sank. Looking at Sima Yue, she knew that she was doomed today. At that time, when the Nalan clan had tried to kill Sima Yue, she had heard her clansmen talk about it. However, at that time, Sima Yue didn't find trouble with them, so they thought that Sima Yue didn't know about it and thought that it was over. She didn't expect them to be so anxious. She looked around and didn't know how to leave this place. The longer she stayed, the more anxious she became. Now that you're here, don't even think about escaping. Little spirit, bring her to 1,000 resonance to play with. Sima Yue ordered. Little spirit appeared in the air. With a snap of his fingers, Ancestor Nalan disappeared. Not long after, screams could be heard. Sima Yue looked at Uni and said, Uni, you won't tell anyone, right? Uni smiled lazily and said, You already said that I'm yours. Naturally, I'll think for you. His words were a little frivolous, but Sima Yue knew that he wouldn't tell anyone. Since you're mine, you'll have to listen to me obediently. Otherwise, I won't want you anymore. She followed his words. Mo Sha, who was inside the devil snare bracelet, heard their conversation and unconsciously frowned. Her people? These words made him feel very uncomfortable. He had the urge to kill Uni. How would I dare not listen to Junior Valley Master if he wants me to listen? Uni looked at the house in the distance and said, That's the place you guys usually rest? I'll go find a room to rest too. After saying that, he really walked towards the house and very consciously chose a room as his own. I'll go take a look. Otherwise he'll take up all our rooms. Fatty Chu said as he followed. Bei Gongtang came to Sima Yue's side and looked at the house saying, Are you assured? You won't say. Sima Yue said. We've been rushing for so long. Let's all go and rest first. Okay. Everyone rested for a day. On the second day, they gathered together to discuss the matter of the soul-gnawing beast. When she found out that one day outside was 10 days inside, Uni was extremely shocked. It was no wonder that after not seeing them for half a year, each of their strengths had increased so much. It turned out that they had this divine cheating tool. Thus, she decided that she would follow the Junior Valley Master in the future, and use this divine cheating tool to increase her cultivation and array skills. Because she didn't know how powerful the soul-gnawing beast was, Sima Yue decided to let them all wait in the spirit pagoda. She would go out with Yuni and Chongming 1,000 resonance first. If there was anything she needed, she would call them. Everyone knew that with their strength, they wouldn't be of much use if they went out. Thus they agreed to wait here. Sima Yue and Yuni went out. They had stayed inside for more than a day, and had only been outside for 2 hours. Let's go. Let's go and see what this island has become. She followed the memories of the scarlet bees, and brought everyone to the depths of the island. In order to avoid being attacked by the soul-gnawing beast, they chose to walk. After walking a few kilometers into the island, they saw the dark scene that the scarlet bees saw. All the plants were dead. They didn't wither, but they were all charred black. It was as if their life force had been sucked out and smeared with black ink. The whole place is like this. Sima Yue looked around. Other than the forest on the outside, everything else on the island had become like this. Yuni squatted down and took out a silk handkerchief. She grabbed a blade of grass and touched it lightly. That blade of grass turned into black powder and scattered in the air. Perhaps the black powder had pressed onto the other plants and caused a butterfly effect. All the black plants on the island had turned into black powder and formed a thick layer on the ground. Chapter 396. The entire island was covered in a thick layer of black powder. From afar, it looked like a black purgatory. Even Yuni and Chongming, who had seen a lot in the primordial lands, were shocked. This scene was really too bizarre. Sima Yue took out a wild animal from her spirit pagoda and threw it into the distance. Poochie! The pheasant fell directly into the black powder. It fluttered twice in the powder, and all the feathers on its body were corroded, followed by its meat and bones. Soon, the fat pheasant completely disappeared. This black powder is so powerful. Yuni remembered that she had touched the black grass and felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he had used a silk handkerchief. If he had used his hand directly, he was afraid that his hand would have been crippled. Sima Yue did not expect the black powder to be so powerful. She frowned and said, "There's so much black powder. It seems like we can only fly over." "Yes. Fly close to the ground," Chongming said. They continued to fly towards the depths of the island. The deeper they went, the more shocked they became because the black area they saw was just too big. How did these plants become this corrosive black powder? 1,000 Resonance couldn't help but ask as he looked at the vast expanse of darkness below. Chongming and Yuni both shook their heads, indicating that they did not know. They had never seen these things before, and did not know what was going on. "Yue, don't worry. No matter what happens, I will protect you. After all, I am your woman," Yuni said with a smile. Sima Yue felt the devil snare bracelet move, but before she could ask, Mo Sha came out. Yuni was shocked when she saw a shadow suddenly appear. Then she realized that the shadow came from Sima Yue, so it shouldn't be an enemy. "Mo Sha, why did you come out?" Sima Yue asked curiously. This fellow almost never appeared in front of everyone. Even though he had been with Wei Ziqi and the rest for so many years, they did not know of his existence. Why did he come out today? These things. Mo Sha looked at the thick layer of black powder and said, which could be considered as answering her question. However, he glanced at Yuni, causing the latter to have goosebumps. She muttered to herself, "Why do I feel like the Grim Reaper is staring at me?" Sima Yue did not notice the subtle relationship between the two of them. Hearing what he said, she asked excitedly, "Do you know how it was formed?" Mo Sha retracted his gaze and nodded, saying, "A powerful fellow came this time." "Soul-devouring beast?" "No," Mo Sha said. "The soul-devouring beast should be a magical beast that he raised." "You're saying that other than the soul-devouring beast, there are other people on this island?" Sima Yue asked. "That's right. To be able to come here from that place, this person's strength is not low." Mo Sha said, "Furthermore, you guys aren't familiar with the Devil Realm's methods. so you might not necessarily win against him. The opponent still has a sacred beast. Sima Yue was speechless. The opponent was so strong, what were they going to do? If you guys can subdue that soul-devouring beast, I'll deal with that person, Emosha said. Alright. Emosha looked at Uni again saying, they can restrain that person for a period of time. You guys have to take care of the soul-devouring beast during this time. We can only restrain him for a period of time? Uni's usual lazy smile froze, as she looked at Emosha in disbelief. If it weren't for the restrictions here, even 3,000 of you wouldn't be able to restrain him, Emosha said mercilessly. Uni's smile cracked. This was too much of a blow. That person is that powerful. Sima Yue widened her eyes. If I didn't guess wrongly, this person has already reached the Devil General rank. His strength is even stronger than your God rank. Don't you think he's powerful? Emosha said. Although Sima Yue did not understand the rankings of the Devil Realm, if he was stronger than a God rank, this was indeed not something Uni and the rest could contend against. I'll go back first. If you guys can't take care of that soul-devouring beast, I won't come out again. Emosha returned to the Devil's Snare Ring after he finished speaking. Yue, who is this person? Uni waited for Emosha to disappear before opening her mouth to ask. The soul of a Devil General from the Devil Realm. Sima Yue said. It's a coincidence that I'm bound to him now. Uni understood what Sima Yue meant. If she lived, he would speak. If she died, he would die. Therefore, he would definitely do his best to help them. But the three of us are going to restrain that Devil General. Can you deal with that soul-devouring beast alone? Uni was worried about her and asked worriedly. Don't worry, I can do it. Sima Yue said. The four of them flew forward for a while, and quickly arrived at the center of the island. It's here. Sima Yue looked at the quiet surroundings. There was no black fog that the scarlet bees saw. Are you guys looking for me? A sharp voice came from all directions. Then, a black fog slowly rose from the ground. A figure suddenly appeared on the small hill in front of them. That figure was sitting there steadily, as if it had always been there. Gaga dash, the voice came from behind them. They turned around and saw the rolling black fog that the scarlet bees saw. Two sacred beasts. Hee, I like it. It's been a long time since I've drunk fresh blood. The black fog laughed weirdly. You're that soul-devouring beast? Sima Yue said with certainty. That's right. The black fog rolled and slowly condensed. It formed a completely black demon beast with a pair of slender legs and 6 skinny arms. It also had a ghost-like head. Its blood-red eyes were the same as the eyes that Sima Yue saw through the scarlet bees. A soul-devouring beast looks like this? Sima Yue looked at the soul-devouring beast in disgust. The black liquid that dripped from its body was too disgusting. She did not want to look at the soul-devouring beast anymore. She turned around and faced the demon general. Although the demon general looked a little weird, at least he looked like a human. Also, he did not drip that sticky black liquid. He was still acceptable. You have guts. The demon general opened his mouth and looked straight at Sima Yue. There were many people in the demon realm who were afraid of him. However, she dared to look straight at him. She was really bold. Thank you for the compliment. Sima Yue looked calm on the surface. However, she was very nervous. His aura was stronger than Old Man Devil's. Also, because he was from the demon race, he naturally had an aura that made people afraid. A gust of wind blew from Sima Yue to the demon general. He closed his eyes and sniffed lightly. His face was intoxicated as he looked at her excitedly. Your body smells so good. It must be delicious to eat. Hee, I didn't expect to meet such a rare food. Hee, give me your body. Chapter 397. Sima Yue ignored the uncomfortable feeling brought about by that voice. She looked at the demon general and said, You want to eat me? After I eat your flesh, I'll feed your soul to my soul-devouring beast. I'm sure it'll be a great supplement. The demon general looked at Sima Yue with great interest, as if he was looking at a delicious meal. In the past 2 months, he had asked the soul-devouring beast to release some people who wanted to investigate, but the taste of those people was very ordinary, and he didn't like them. However, the person in front of him was different. He could smell the faint fragrance coming from her body from so far away, which meant that she must be extremely beautiful. He wondered what kind of physique she had to be able to make him almost drool. Sima Yue snorted and said, "You want to eat my meat? I'll beat you to a pulp first." Ha ha ha. Hearing Sima Yue's words, the devil general laughed loudly. "Just the few of you want to turn me into meat paste? You overestimate yourself. You'll know in a while whether or not I'm overestimating myself," Sima Yue said. "But what I'm more curious about is, how did a devil general like you come to the Yilin continent? The space here was the hardest to break. Were you the one who caused the chaos in the sea? What are you trying to do? Is it for the thing below?" The demon general's dark face turned strange. He did not expect Sima Yue to know his identity as a demon general. "Since you're so delicious, I'll satisfy your curiosity." The devil general folded his hands together and said, "Since you know that I am the devil general, then do you know who is below?" Sima Yue shook her head and asked, "Who is it?" "A devil king of my devil race is being suppressed here. Naturally, I am here to rescue him," the devil general said. Devil king. Sima Yue was shocked. Could it be someone on the same level as Mo Sha? Mo Sha sensed her thoughts and snorted. "How could that thing be the same as me? That guy's strength has only reached the devil king level. I am the true devil king." "Oh." Sima Yue agreed in her heart. She looked at the demon general and continued to ask, "What does this have to do with how you came here and controlled those sea beasts to attack humans?" "Of course it's related," the demon general said. "If not for the fact that the demon king has been attacking the space here all these years, how could I have opened a passage to come here?" Sima Yue understood that the reason why the sea area was not calm in the past few years was because the Devil King was attacking the space. The Devil King's aura and the space's turbulence made the sea beasts in the sea area restless. Those sea beasts felt deep fear, which led to some abnormal situations. "Then why did you control the sea beasts to attack humans, and let the soul-devouring beast devour human souls?" she asked. "Naturally, it's to increase the strength of my soul-devouring beast," the demon general said. "After eating those souls, my soul-devouring beast will become even more powerful. Only then will it be able to break the seal here and save my demon king." When he spoke up to this point, his expression suddenly changed and the aura on his body turned berserk. He stared straight at Sima Yue saying, "But you actually injured my soul-gnawing beast, causing it to lose so much of its strength. You really deserve to die." "Master, this person's soul smells so good. Let me eat it. If I eat it, my strength will definitely increase by quite a bit." That soul-devouring beast's voice was incomparably sharp, piercing straight into their souls. "Go." The demon general waved his hand. "Don't kill it. I don't want to eat the flesh of a dead person." "Yes, master." The soul-devouring beast cried out excitedly and turned into a ball of black fog. That black fog rolled a few times and split into two balls. Chongming and Thousand Resonance looked at each other and said, "Let's do it." The three of them flew towards the demon general, leaving Sima Yue to deal with the soul-devouring beast alone. "Haha, you actually left me to deal with you alone. Looks like you want me to eat your soul directly." The soul-devouring beast cried out happily. "Want to eat me? Let's see if you have the ability," Sima Yue said. Crimson flame come out. The surrounding air suddenly became scorching hot. If an ordinary person came here, they would definitely die from the heat. That heat wave sealed the entire space. Following that, a peerlessly handsome man appeared in front of everyone. This was the first time Sima Yue saw Crimson Flame's human form when she was awake. Previously, when she was at the bottom of 10,000 Beast Mountain, although she glanced at Crimson Flame, the impression was very vague. She couldn't remember what he looked like. Now that she saw the slender figure in front of her, that appearance, that temperament, other than that fellow Wu Lingyu, no one else could compare to him at all. Yuni, who always boasted of her good looks, was 7 points worse than him. The moment Crimson Flame appeared, everyone present felt his incomparably powerful aura. Yuni and the demon general looked over in shock. Who was this person who suddenly appeared? Why did he have such a powerful aura? "You, who are you?" The soul-devouring beast saw Crimson Flame and trembled from his soul to his body. I am her life contract beast 3. If you want to eat her, you want to eat me. Crimson Flame said as his body ignited with raging flames. The space around him became slightly distorted due to the heat. This aura. The soul-devouring beast saw the flames on Crimson Flame's body, and its first reaction was to retreat. Crimson Flame wasn't in a hurry. The flames jumped on his body as if they wanted to break free from his restraints and chase after the soul-devouring beast. It was the first time Sima Yue saw such a flame. It was so happy, so lively. It was even hotter than when she summoned it. It was as if it had a life of its own. Go. Crimson Flame flicked his sleeves lightly. The flames seemed to have been released and left his body. They formed a red bird in the air, and chased after the soul-devouring beast. Sima Yue looked at the red bird in surprise. The flame bird seemed to have a life of its own as it flapped its wings, and even made a chirping sound. Ji. The soul-devouring beast felt the danger and screamed sharply. The sound reminded Sima Yue of the first time she came into contact with the soul-devouring beast. Her entire body jumped up and she felt extremely uncomfortable. It was as if her soul was being torn apart. Chirp chirp. That firebird cried out as well. That mellow voice suppressed the voice of the soul-gnawing beast, causing Sima Yue and the others to relax. Uni and the rest were still okay. The short cry didn't make them feel too uncomfortable. It only made their movements slightly slower. However, Sima Yue's strength wasn't as good as theirs. Her defense against this kind of soul damage wasn't as good as theirs. Hence, even though the soul-devouring beast's cry was short, she still couldn't take it. Her face turned pale instantly and her entire body became unstable. She lost her balance and actually fell into the black powder below. Yue, Chongming and the rest saw her fall and wanted to save her. However, they were held back by the demon general and couldn't leave. Crimson Flame was about to go when he saw the black fog around her. Then a figure appeared and held her waist with one hand, stopping her from falling. You're really weak. Emosha saw her pale face and frowned. Chapter 398. Sima Yue looked at Emosha and was stunned for a moment before saying, "Thank you." However, Emosha didn't appreciate it and said, "Next time you're this weak, I won't save you." Sima Yue didn't expect the soul-devouring beast's cry to be so powerful. It was just a short cry, but she couldn't handle it. Thinking about it, when they met on the sea, that black cloud was only a part of the soul-devouring beast. That cry had injured all of them. Moreover, this was the main body, which was much more powerful than the clone wrapped in the dark cloud. She doesn't need you to save her. Crimson Flame flew over and took Sima Yue. Emosha's body became transparent again. The flames on Crimson Flame's body burned all the darkness, but when it touched Emosha, it only jumped a few times and didn't burn him. However, Emosha still distanced himself from Crimson Flame. Although the two of them had formed a contract with Sima Yue on the same day, this was the first time they had met face to face. Chirp chirp. Squeak squeak. The flaming bird seemed to be furious that the soul-devouring beast had injured Sima Yue. It flapped its wings and rushed to the soul-devouring beast's side, enveloping it completely in an instant. The soul-devouring beast was being burned. It kept trying to resist and struggle, but it was being burned down by the flames. Qi Yan stood beside Sima Yue and covered her ears. Don't listen. She didn't know if his hands had magic, but after he covered her ears, she really couldn't hear the sound of the soul-devouring beast. Emosha indifferently glanced at the soul-devouring beast that was being burned smaller and smaller by the flames, then turned his gaze towards the few people who were currently fighting. You are indeed a devil general. He looked at the devil general and waved his hand. A gust of wind separated the people who were fighting. Uni and the rest saw Emosha come out and knew that their mission was completed. They quickly retreated and returned to Sima Yue's side. The devil general looked at Emosha, his eyes flashing with suspicion. However, there was more vigilance and fear in his heart. That's right, a soul actually gave him endless pressure and deep fear. You are from the devil race. The devil general said. That's right. Emosha admitted. I didn't think that you would actually be able to break through the barrier between the devil world and this place. It's a pity that you came here alone. Otherwise, it's really possible to get that guy out. The demon general's face was heavy. The feeling that the other party gave him was too strong. Even if it was a soul, he might not be a match for him. What do you want? The devil general asked in a deep voice. Since we are both demons, I'll give you a chance. Return to the demon realm immediately. Emosha said. It wasn't easy for you to cultivate to the devil general level. If you were to be killed by me just like that, that would be too much of a pity. I came to save the devil king. The devil general said. Then you won't choose the path I gave you. Emosha said as he turned into a black fog and attacked the devil general. Usually he would only give people one chance. Since the other party said no, he would not be soft-hearted. The demon general also used the black fog to wrap himself up. He wanted to make his position unpredictable so that the other party would not be able to attack him. But this move was useless against Emosha. The two balls of black fog met and merged together. They became an even bigger ball of black fog that almost covered the sky. Uni and the rest looked at the scene in front of them and were stunned. This battle formation was too frightening. This battle formation is really indescribable. Uni said. Could it be that the battles in the demon realm are all like this? It's even bigger than the battles in the primordial lands. Sima Yue was speechless. Other than the black fog that filled the sky, how could she not see how big the battle formation was? But maybe it was because her power was too low that she could not see it. At the same time, on the other side of the sea, almost all the sea beasts in the sea had gathered here, preparing to launch their biggest attack on the humans. Actually, the sea beasts had been attacking since 3 days ago. However, the last large group was still in the sea, waiting for the final order. Vice Alliance leader, we can't hold on any longer. On the city walls of Yi City, a young lad ran over in a hurry out of breath. Not long after Sima Yue and the rest left, the sea beasts began to gather. Sima Tai stayed here to command everyone in the battle. At the same time, a few other groups of people also returned. They came to Sima Tai's side and said, Vice Alliance leader, the Hu clan can't hold on any longer. The Sang clan is about to be conquered as well. The Li clan said that their alchemists are about to collapse from refining pills. Vice Alliance leader, our various lines of defense have already been conquered. The sea beasts are much stronger than we thought. Vice Alliance leader, we just received news that a large group of divine beasts have gathered a few tens of nautical miles away. It seems that they are all 4th ranked and above. What? Everyone was shocked. This last piece of news was the most fatal. Clan leader, what do we do now? Sima Lin came to Yi City as well to help Sima Tai. Grandfather, let's contact Yu. If she hasn't found the reason, let her come back first. Let's get through this crisis first. Sima Yuyang said. We can only do this. Sima Tai said. Then I'll contact her. Sima Yuyang said. He took out the Mother-Sun stone and inserted his spiritual energy. He began to anxiously wait for the other party's response. Yuyang. Sima Yoyue's voice sounded, causing everyone's spirits to rise. Yuyang, did something happen? Sima Yue continued to ask. Yes. Sima Yuyang took a deep breath and explained the situation, saying, Where are you now? Can you rush back? Alliance leader, if you don't come back, we won't be able to hold on. The human puppets at the side cried out. Sima Yue didn't think that the situation here would be so serious. The other side was quiet for a while. Just when everyone thought that the connection was broken, her voice sounded again. I was wondering why this guy hadn't been completely burned to death after such a long time. It turns out that he was constantly replenishing his strength over there. Replenishing his strength? Yuyang, look at the sky above you. Do you see a patch of dark clouds? Sima Yue asked. Sima Yuyang raised his head and saw a strange patch of dark clouds. It seemed to have covered the entire sky. The others raised their heads as well. Previously, nobody had noticed the dark clouds in the sky. Now that Sima Yue mentioned it, they felt that it was a little strange. We have already dealt with the main body of the soul-gnawing beast. Do you see if the dark clouds have dispersed? Sima Yue asked. It seems to be dispersing. Sima Yuyang stared at the dark clouds. But Yu, what does the dark clouds have to do with it? The dark clouds are part of the soul-gnawing beast. It's because the soul-gnawing beast controls the sea beasts that they attack humans. Sima Yuiwer explained from the other side, causing everyone to be shocked. It's dispersing. It's dispersing. Someone saw that the dark clouds were dispersing quickly, and cried out in surprise. They saw that the dark clouds were dispersing slowly. In the middle of it was a black creature. That creature struggled in the air for a while before it turned into black smoke and disappeared. Chapter 399. We've already killed the main body of the soul-devouring beast, so the other clones will disappear as well. Those sea beasts will slowly regain their consciousness, and won't be able to fly anymore. Sima Yue said, "We're not done here yet. Contact me after you see the situation." After saying that, she cut off the connection between them. Sima Yuyang looked at Sima Tai. They had also heard what Sima Yuyu had said, and it was as if a huge stone had been lifted from their hearts. All of you, look at the eyes of those sea beasts. They are slowly awakening. Sima Lin pointed to the sea beasts in front of them and said. Everyone looked over, and sure enough, they saw those confused eyes slowly becoming focused. These eyes were filled with confusion, as if they did not know why they were here. Bang! Bang! One by one, the sea beasts fell from the sky, no longer able to fly. I really can't fly anymore. The soul masters in the air were originally fighting against these sea beasts, but they didn't expect their opponents to suddenly all fall down. They were so happy that they cheered loudly. Vice Alliance Master, are we going to completely wipe them out? Someone asked. No need. Sima Tai said. These sea beasts are also under someone's control, so they don't know what they're doing. Send someone to inform the others first. Don't kill them all yet. Let's see what the Alliance Master has to say when we report back. Yes, Vice Alliance Master. The people in other places had also received the news. They did not do anything to the sea beasts that had landed on the beach. They were waiting for Sima Yue's words. After 1 to 2 hours, Sima Yue contacted Sima Yuyang again and asked, How is it? Those sea beasts have already regained their consciousness. There are more sea beasts that landed on the beach. Everyone is asking you what to do with them. Put them back. Sima Yue said. They have no choice. Maybe humans can use this opportunity to build a good relationship with the sea beasts, and it will be safer for them to go out into the sea in the future. Okay, Sima Yuyang said. When are you coming back? Although the demon general and the soul-devouring beast have been taken care of, the Forgotten Worry Island has yet to settle down. Sima Yue said. We might stay here for a few days. We'll go back once we're done here. Then be careful. Sima Yuyang said. We will. Contact me if there's anything else. Sima Yue hung up after saying that. Sima Tai said to the people beside him. Did you hear what the Alliance Master said? Go and spread the news. Yes, Vice Alliance Leader. The person beside him replied and left. Sima Tai first sent people down to negotiate with the sea beasts of the highest level. After reaching an agreement, he thought of a way to move all the sea beasts back into the sea. Vice Leader, are we going to pass this crisis just like that? Some people couldn't believe it. Just an hour ago, they were still fighting the sea beasts to the death. In just a short while, the battle that had lasted for months had ended just like that? I've counted it. Sima Tai said. However, even though this matter had passed, the impact of this matter was likely to cause a great upheaval in the entire continent. Some forces had sacrificed a lot in this battle, while others had sacrificed less. This would definitely cause a change in the ranking of the factions. He waved his hand and said, Let's clean up the mess first and count the number of casualties. Yes, Vice Alliance Leader. On Sima Yue's side, after Mo Sha and the Devil General fused together, she received Sima Yuyang's request for help. It was only then that she realized that the flame bird did not burn the entire soul-gnawing beast just for fun. In addition, the other clones were constantly absorbing the souls, so the main body did not die. Crimson Flame got the flame bird to burn the entire soul-gnawing beast. After confirming that the dark clouds had dissipated, Sima Yue hung up. After an hour, the black fog did not seem to have reduced in size. They did not know how Mo Sha and the Devil General were doing either. Will anything happen to him? Sima Yue could not help but ask. Probably not. Uni was unsure as well. He looked so domineering before, he shouldn't have been bluffing. But it's been so long, and there hasn't been any movement inside. Apart from the initial scream, there hasn't been a single sound coming from inside. Sima Yue said. Are you worried about this, Lord? Sima Yue had just finished speaking when Emosha's voice was heard. After that, the black fog that filled the sky quickly condensed into a ball, turning into a human figure. It was Emosha's figure. You've become stronger? Sima Yue asked curiously when she realized that his soul was more solid than before. After digesting his strength, it just so happened to replenish my soul, Emosha said. You couldn't have been digesting the Devil General's strength for such a long time, right? Sima Yue frowned. That's right, Emosha said. You should have heard his scream before he died. He died at that time? Sima Yue glared at him fiercely, shouting. You killed the Devil General so early and you didn't even tell us. You made us worry for so long, you're too despicable. I thought that with your understanding of me, you would know that I didn't need much time to deal with him. Emosha looked speechlessly at the angry person. Say it, what did you discover? Qian looked at Emosha and said. I discovered some things from his memories. Emosha replied. You even read his memories? Sima Yue asked. After a person dies, their brain doesn't stop immediately. I invaded his brain during this time and read his memories. Emosha said. After leaving the Devil Realm for so many years, he also wanted to know what it was like now. He also wanted to know how those powers were doing. Were they still waiting for him to go back and take revenge? Hey, what are you thinking about? Sima Yue saw that Emosha was actually in a daze, and was surprised from the bottom of her heart. Nothing. Emosha collected his thoughts, saying, Didn't you want to completely eliminate this hidden danger? If you don't stabilize the space here, who knows if someone will come here soon and something similar will happen again. Sima Yue nodded, saying, I think so too. That Devil General said that there was a Devil King suppressed below, and that Devil King kept attacking the space, which gave the Devil General the opportunity to use the soul-devouring beast to enter here. If that Devil King continues to attack the space, who knows if the next Devil General will come here soon. So we have to deal with this matter from the root. That's right. Uni agreed with her thoughts. Since that's the case, then come with me, Emosha said. Go where? Sima Yue asked. That Devil General already knows where the Devil King is, and even went to see him. I'll bring you to see him. Chapter 400. Sima Yue stared at Emosha and said, You want to eat that Devil King too, don't you? You can understand it that way. Emosha raised his eyebrows. In any case, you have to solve this problem. I'm just helping you solve it completely. Sima Yue pursed her lips and said, Aren't you doing this for yourself? Let's go then, Uni said. Wait. Sima Yue waved her hand and stored all the black dust on the island into her spirit pagoda. What are you going to do with these? Uni asked. If the dust is blown into the sea, it'll be troublesome. Moreover, once the new seed was released, this place would become a deserted island. Why don't we collect them? Maybe we can use their corrosive properties to make poison in the future. Sima Yue said as she took out some seeds and scattered them around. Uni looked at her speechlessly. Only she could think of using this to make poison. After she was done, she clapped her hands and said, Let's go. Crimson Flame didn't rush back this time. He followed her all the way. A group of powerful, handsome men with different temperaments were with her. This lineup was really eye-catching. They came to the center of the island, where there was a volcanic crater. Looking at the rocks in the crater, this was an extinct volcano that had not erupted for tens of thousands of years. Below, Emosha said. Sima Yue stood at the top of the mountain and looked down at the entire island. Indeed, it was a type of formation that relied on one's strength. However, compared to the 10,000 Beast Mountains array formation, the grade of this array formation was many times lower. They jumped down from the crater, and it took them half an hour to reach the bottom. Sha-sha. The sound of the iron chains rubbing against the ground was exceptionally loud in this quiet volcano, pulling all of their willpower over. In a pitch-black cave, he was imprisoned forever. Sima Yu thought she would see a ferocious devil beast or devil clan, but when crimson flame lit up the entire mountain, what they saw was a half-foot-tall, completely black pony. His eyes were round, unlike the eyes of other demons that were filled with blood and slaughter. On the contrary, they looked very pure. The pony's forehooves were firmly tied by 8 iron chains. The other side of the iron chains were all inserted into the wall, intertwining with each other in the air. This is the Devil King? Sima Yue looked at Emo Sha in disbelief. I think so. Previously, when the Devil General came down, I didn't see its main body, so I didn't know it was this guy. Emo Sha said. You know it? Crimson Flame asked. I don't know it, but I know its ancestors. Emo Sha said. The Nightmare Beast clan has helped me before. Looks like I can't eat it today. This is the legendary Nightmare Beast? Don't they say that nightmare beasts are ferocious magical beasts? Sima Yue looked at Little Pony. Little Pony's eyes were filled with fear when he saw Sima Yue and the rest. That adorable appearance had nothing to do with the devil race at all. Emo Sha floated over and carefully looked at Little Pony. He floated back and said, This is a mutated nightmare beast. The most special thing is that it doesn't have the ferocious aura of a demon. It's really strange. And this nightmare beast is still in its infancy, yet it's already at the Devil King level. Looks like it was born like this. Born with the strength of a Devil King? Sima Yue looked at Little Pony. She wasn't afraid at all. Instead, she felt that it was cute. That Little Pony took a step back and opened its mouth at Sima Yue, trying to scare her. That row of sharp teeth was still a little scary. It's actually different from normal horse teeth. Sima Yue said. But can't it speak? It spoke the language of the Devil Clan. It's just that you don't understand it. Emo Sha said. But didn't I form a contract with you? Sima Yue said. I formed a contract with the Scarlet Queen Bee, and I can understand the Scarlet Queen Bee's language. Why can't I understand it? Emo Sha's face was full of black lines. He reached out and knocked her head, saying, Although I'm from the Devil Clan, I belong to the Human Clan. You formed a contract with me, so you definitely can't understand the Devil Clan's language. Since you formed a contract with it, you might be able to understand it. Sima Yue touched the place where Emo Sha hit her head. This guy's strength was getting stronger and stronger. His soul was becoming more and more physical. Is this really the guy that sucked all the creatures on the island? It doesn't look like it. She stared at the nightmare beast. That pair of pure big eyes really made her unable to connect it with the ferocious guy in her mind. No matter how pure a devil beast looks, it's still a devil beast. The ferocity in its blood can't be erased. Qian said coldly. But if it's the case, it should have done it unconsciously. Emo Sha explained for Little Pony. Then what do we do now? Yuni asked. Originally, Emo Sha was going to eat this Devil King. But now, he was saying that the Nightmare Beast clan was his benefactor, and he couldn't eat it. Then Sima Yue wanted to get rid of this hidden danger. What should she do? Sima Yue was also in a difficult position. She looked at Emo Sha and asked, How do we deal with this guy? You can't kill it, but you can't leave it here. Why don't you keep it? Emo Sha said. Keep it? How can we do that? Yuni was the first to object. It's a dark attribute spirit beast. Only a dark attribute spirit master can form a contract with it. If we let Yue form a contract with it, wouldn't that be asking for her life? Sima Yue looked at the nightmare beast, saying, Can I form a contract with it? Emo Sha nodded, saying, As long as you can pull it out of this array. Sima Yue looked at the array below Little Pony, saying, Then you go and tell it that if I save it, it has to recognize me as its master. Otherwise, when it comes out, I'll destroy it. Yue. Yuni looked at Sima Yue worriedly. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Okay. Emo Sha floated over again, and mumbled something to the nightmare beast. Towards the end, Emo Sha looked at her, and the nightmare beast looked at her and nodded. Okay, let's start. Sima Yue said as she brought everyone into the spirit pagoda. Then she came out with Sima Yulin, and the two of them began to break the array. The two of them worked together to break the array. It took them about a month's time. After a month, the array below Little Pony disappeared. Little Pony jumped up and down excitedly, causing the chains to clatter. Sima Yue was able to get close to it now. She walked over and squatted down, saying, "Don't be anxious, the chains aren't done yet." She stretched forth a hand to grab the chains and used fire to burn it, but found that it had no effect at all. "This thing is pretty sturdy." She was a little surprised and changed the fire to Crimson Flame's fire. Woo-woo. The nightmare beast saw the fire in Sima Yue's hand and retreated in fear. "Don't worry, this fire won't burn you," Sima Yue said with a smile when she saw the fear in its eyes. After that, she threw the fire onto the chains and let it burn the chains. No pop-up window, our address. We provide handwritten versions of our works, free to download as a TXT ebook. Chapter 401. It took nearly an hour for the 8 iron chains to be completely burned off. It was clear how tough these things were. Clang! When the last chain was burned, the nightmare beast stomped on the ground a few times and made a sound. After confirming that it was no longer bound, it pounced towards Sima Yue. Wah 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 wah. The nightmare beast pushed Sima Yue down and licked her face with its tongue. Sima Yulin was at the side, and saw that the nightmare beast was licking her face like a dog. If it wasn't for the fact that it didn't look like a dog at all, he would have suspected that this guy was actually a dog. Sima Yue couldn't understand what this little fellow was saying. She sat up and called Empress out, asking, "How can I form a contract with it?" "Originally, the Imperial Beast art could, but your strength is too low, so you can't tame it," Empress said. Sima Yue glared at him. Then what was there to say? "Then let it recognize you as its master?" Sima Yulin said. "That's not worth it," Empress said. "Then what should we do?" Sima Yue was speechless. "This won't do, that won't do. It's so troublesome to contract a magical beast. Don't forget that I used to be a beast tamer too." Empress glanced at Sima Yue. This girl's brain really wasn't working well sometimes. Sima Yue decided to ignore the person who had been looking down on her recently. Empress and the nightmare beast came to an agreement, then condensed their bodies and began to tame them. They didn't expect a soul like him to be able to tame a magical beast. The two of them were dumbfounded. Very quickly, Empress finished taming the nightmare beast. The nightmare beast's large eyes were dazed and unfocused. "Come," Empress said. "That's it." Sima Yue walked over. "How do I contract it?" "It's not much different from other contracts, but it uses dark spiritual energy," Empress said. Sima Yue placed her hand on the nightmare beast's head. She circulated the dark spiritual energy in her body and began to contract the nightmare beast. Soon, a contract was established between the two of them. A black light fell down, surrounding her and the nightmare beast. Finally, it turned into 2 black runes that disappeared between their eyebrows. "Master." As soon as the contract was established, Sima Yue heard a soft voice. "Nightmare beast?" Sima Yue tried calling out. "Master, I'm Little Dream." The nightmare beast giggled. "Master, I'm about to advance." Sima Yue didn't know how to categorize nightmare beasts, but she knew that they were definitely stronger than god beasts. While the nightmare beast was leveling up, the dark energy in Sima Yue's body was also leveling up. After the leveling up, she felt that the dark energy in her body was slightly more than the other energies. She should have reached the peak of the Spirit Elder realm. Little Dream turned into a cute girl. She was dressed in black and had long hair that reached her waist. Her round face and big eyes made her look harmless. Sima Yue looked at the 4 or 5-year-old girl and reached out to pinch her face, saying, "Little Dream is a little girl." "Master, Little Dream is hungry," Little Dream said to Sima Yue. What do demons eat?" You can speak human language?" Sima Yue looked at Little Dream's pitiful eyes and asked. "After forming a contract with Master, I can speak Master's language," Little Dream said. Sima Yue turned her head to look at Empress. Empress also didn't expect the nightmare beast to be such a cute little girl, saying, "Just give her some of your things to eat." "Let's go, I'll take you to eat something good." Sima Yue held Little Dream's hand and brought the others back to the Spirit Pagoda. When the people in the Spirit Pagoda saw Little Dream, they couldn't believe that this was the Demon King level beast that had been suppressed for so long. Little Dream saw that there were many people inside, and timidly leaned towards Sima Yue. Little Dream, don't be afraid. They are all my friends and contracted beasts. They won't hurt you. Sima Yue patted her hand and comforted her. Through the contract, she could feel Little Dream's loneliness and fear after being suppressed for so long. Perhaps it was because she was suppressed for so long that she lost the ferocity of a demon beast and became so timid. Yes. Little Dream nodded, saying, Master saved Little Dream. Master will protect Little Dream, and Little Dream will also protect Master. Let's go. I'll take you to eat something good. Sima Yue said. Okay. Little Dream raised her head and smiled. Sima Yue took her and left. The others looked at the backs of the two of them and slapped their faces, saying, Is that really the nightmare beast? Such a cute demon beast. It's really hard to imagine. Uni thought about how Sima Yue was fine after contracting Little Dream. Could it be that she really had dark spiritual energy in her body? Sima Yue and the others left for a long time and did not return. The few of them planned to see what the demon beast ate. When they went to the back of the kitchen, they were immediately stunned. They saw Sima Yue standing outside the fence. Little Dream was inside, hugging a pheasant and gnawing happily. The pheasant had all its feathers plucked, but it was not dead. Half of it was eaten. The other chicken claw was still kicking, as if it was making its last struggle. There were hundreds of pheasants in the fence, but now there were only a dozen left. The feathers were scattered all over the ground. Little Dream was standing among the feathers. Her pink face was stained with blood, especially the corners of her mouth. It was all stained with blood and looked very scary. Yue, did she eat all of these? Everyone felt that the scene was a little nauseating. The visual impact was too great. Sima Yue nodded, saying, It already knows how to pluck feathers now. Just now it wanted to eat the feathers. It only became like this after I told it a few times. She brought Little Dream in. Little Dream saw the pheasants and asked, Master, is this for me to eat? Sima Yue nodded. Before she could say anything, she let go of her hand and rushed into the fence. She grabbed a pheasant and began to gnaw on it. Very quickly, the pheasant was wiped clean. She turned and grabbed another one. She lifted it by the neck and began to gnaw on it. Sima Yue reacted at this time and quickly stopped her, letting her pluck the feathers first. After telling her a few times, she finally plucked the feathers before eating. Little Dream stood in the same place, seeing everyone looking at her with a strange expression, as if she had done something wrong. She was scared silly. Master. She looked at her master. Little Roar looked at her and said, This fellow is actually cuter than me. Luckily she is a girl. Otherwise I would definitely hit her. Sima Yue snapped her fingers. The feathers and the pile of internal organs all disappeared. The fence became clean again. She walked over and took out a silk cloth to wipe off the blood on Little Dream's face, asking, Are you full? I'm a little full. Little Dream used her bloody hands to grab onto Sima Yue's clothes, saying, Master, did I do something wrong? Their eyes are so strange. Seeing the blood on her clothes, Sima Yue was not angry, saying, It's nothing. They just have never seen someone eat like this. Then how did they eat? Little Dream blinked her big eyes and asked curiously. Chapter 402. Sima Yue smiled and said, Everyone eats cooked food. What is something that's ripe? Little Dream continued to ask. I'll ask them to make some for you later. You'll know once you eat it. Sima Yue said. Okay. Little Dream nodded happily. Master didn't scold her and even said that he would cook cooked food for her. Master was so nice. Then let's go wash up first. She pulled her out of the fence and said, Little Spirit, go and bring back some pheasants. Bring back some other game as well. Foodie. Little Spirit appeared and said as he looked at Little Dream. However, there wasn't much blame in his eyes. There was a lot of wild game in the Spirit Pagoda. Just when he felt that the amount of wild game had increased recently, he had nowhere to consume them. Ling Long sat on Little Spirit's shoulder and said, Master is so gentle to Little Dream. I'm also very gentle towards you. Little Spirit finished speaking and left with her to catch some wild game. Beigong, make something to eat later. Sima Yue said and left with Xiao Meng. He left behind a group of people who didn't know the truth. I say, why is Yue treating this nightmare beast so well? Fatty Chu asked. I also feel that it's not just any good, Wei Ziqi said. It's a little different from usual. Ouyang Fei echoed. Maybe there's a reason. Bei Gongtang said. Haha, chirp chirp. Gia. A pile of wild game suddenly appeared in the fence, and all kinds of noises filled the surroundings. So much. Bei Gongtang faintly removed the hair on her head and said, let's start. Otherwise, Yue won't be done when she comes out. Wei Ziqi and the others held back their laughter, nodding their heads as they began to act. I'm really curious why Yue is so gentle to Xiaoming. Sima Yue brought Xiaoming to the room where she took a bath. The pool was already filled with water. Master, what is this for? Little Dream curiously looked at the pool and asked. This is for bathing. Sima Yue said. You've been locked up here for so long. Take a good bath here and eat some delicious food. Master, why do you have to take a bath before eating? Little Meng asked. Because you're in human form now. You have to live like a human. Sima Yue carried her into the water. At first, she was a little afraid of the water, and clutched onto Sima Yue's clothes tightly. Soon, she realized the benefits of taking a bath. She let go of Sima Yue and flopped around in the water. The bloodstains on her body were washed clean. Sima Yue leaned against the side of the pool, and looked at Xiaomeng's innocent little face. Her eyes were filled with love. During the contract, she saw the memories hidden in the depths of its mind through the contract. Those memories made her heart ache for it. Little Dream was the most talented person in the nightmare race. She was born with the strength of a devil king. She was much stronger than the average clansman. Although the nightmare race was not as cruel as the other devil clans, they still had the nature of the devil clan. They were not kind people. However, Little Dream was not bad at all. Before she was suppressed, she did not do anything bad. She just lived happily in the clan. However, this kind of life did not last long. 3 years later, the other devil clans brought people to exterminate the nightmare race. They killed all of Little Dream's clansmen. Little Dream did not have much memory of what kind of great battle it was. However, she remembered clearly how the clansmen protected Little Dream, and how Little Dream was tortured after she was captured. They said that there was something in Little Dream's body, and they captured her to take it out. It was said that the thing was in Little Dream's heart. As long as they cut her heart, they could take it out. However, once they hurt Little Dream's heart, they would be attacked by their own skills. After a few years of hard work, they realized that as long as they destroyed Little Dream's heart, she would not die. No matter how serious her injuries were, she would slowly recover. This was an undying magical beast. She was born with the power of a devil king. They could not kill her, and did not dare to release her. Hence, they could only choose to suppress her. It would be best if she could never see the light of day. For insurance, they even chose the Yilin continent, which was the most difficult to open a passage, and suppressed her on Forgotten Worry Island. Before they suppressed her, they even sealed her memories so that she could not remember what she had experienced. Apart from that, they had also sealed her body before suppressing her. All these years, Little Dream had been muddle-headed. She did not know where she was or what she had experienced. She could not even remember who she was. Even after so many years, she could only maintain this state. They originally thought that they could suppress Little Dream forever. However, they did not expect that Sima Yue would come here and break their array. She even read the sealed memories during the contract. She did not know how many years she had been suppressed here. A few years ago, when she swallowed the creatures on the island, it was unconsciously caused by her body's seal being removed. The reason was she was very hungry. Master, the bath is so comfortable. Little Dream did not remember what she had experienced. She swam over and smiled happily, then soaked for a while longer. Sima Yue patted her head and said, "But..." Little Dream looked at Sima Yue shyly. "What's wrong?" Sima Yue asked. "The bath is very comfortable, but Little Dream is hungry." Little Dream lowered her head and said softly. Sima Yue's mouth twitched. She had only eaten a few wild chickens, and was already hungry after a bath. Then let's go out and eat. She stood up and changed into a clean set of clothes. She looked through her own clothes and realized that there were no children's clothes. Hence, she went to find little Tu's clothes for her to wear. Although it looked a little strange, she could only put up with it and wait until they were outside to prepare clothes for her. Little Dream looked at the clothes that did not fit her and smiled happily. Her master was so nice. Sima Yue brought her to the dining room. Before they even entered, they smelled a fragrance. Master, it smells so good. Little Dream held Sima Yue's hand and said as they stood outside. Then let's go in and see what delicious food they made. Okay. In the dining room, hundreds of wild animals were roasted and stewed. It almost filled the entire dining room. Seeing them enter, Fatty Chu wiped the sweat on his forehead and said, I never thought that there would be a day when I would have to cook for someone. Master, are these all for me to eat? Little Dream asked. Yes, go and eat. Sima Yue led her to the dining table and watched as she reached out to grab a roasted chicken and started to eat. When Little Dream took the first bite, she felt that this thing was not as delicious as raw food and subconsciously frowned. However, when she thought about how Sima Yue said that she was now in human form and had to eat cooked food like a human, she gritted her teeth and continued to eat. After eating the first chicken, she seemed to slowly fall in love with this kind of food that had all kinds of strange tastes. She felt that cooked food was not as bad, so she started to eat happily again. Very quickly, the food that Bei Gong Tang and the others had made was all in Little Dream's stomach. Chapter 403. When the last skewer of barbecued meat entered Xiaoming's stomach, she finally stopped. She looked up and saw that everyone present was staring at her with their mouths agape. She lowered her head in embarrassment and whispered, I just feel very hungry. Sima Yue patted her head and said, It's okay, no one will say anything about you. That's right, you've been suppressed for so long, so you definitely haven't eaten anything. It's normal for you to feel hungry. Fatty Chu hurriedly agreed. Seeing Little Dream's ashamed look, they actually felt that they were bullying a child. Are you full? Do you still want to eat? Bei Gong Tang asked gently. No need, I'm already full. Xiaoming shook her head. Seeing that no one disliked her, her eyes were full of smiles. Since you're full, why don't we let Little Roar bring you around the spirit pagoda? Sima Yue asked. All right. Little Dream replied. Sima Yue called Little Roar over and let him bring Little Dream out. Yue, why are you so good to Little Meng? When Little Meng and the rest disappeared, Fatty Chu and the rest asked the question in their hearts. Sima Yue told them about Xiaoming's past. When they heard that Xiaoming had suffered so much, their hearts ached. No wonder you treat her so well. If it was me, I would definitely be heartbroken. Fatty Chu said. Little Dream doesn't know about these memories. Don't let it slip, okay? Sima Yue reminded. Don't worry. We won't tell anyone. Fatty Chu patted his chest and promised. Then are we going back now? Sima Yulin asked. Since the matters here have been settled, it's time to head back. Sima Yue said. I wonder how things are at the Restless Continent. It's good to go there early. After Xiaoming returned from the tour, Sima Yue brought everyone out. Seeing the chains that had imprisoned her for who knows how many years, Little Dream felt a little timid and resentful. It's all right. You're free now. You won't be locked up here anymore. Sima Yue said. Let's go. I'll show you the world. Little Rock flew everyone out of the volcano. It was Little Dream's first time seeing this world. The blue sky and white clouds were strange. The sea and sea beasts below made her cry out in surprise and laugh from time to time. Seeing her happy face, no one could imagine that she had experienced so many things. By the time they returned to Kargalik, everyone had already left the coastline. All the forces had returned to their own places, leaving only a few loose ends in Anyang City to discuss the aftermath. Therefore they rushed back to the Sima family. The news of their return was immediately received by all the forces. Hence, everyone rushed over but was stopped by Sima Yue. I was only the Alliance Master during the battle. Now that the battle is over, don't treat me as the Alliance Master. Now I'm just a junior. If there's anything, you can talk to my family's patriarch. With just a few sentences, she threw all her responsibilities away. Then, without turning back, she brought Little Dream and the others back to the house where they used to live. The few patriarchs and presidents looked at each other. Seeing that Sima Yue was resolute, they could only leave and look for Sima Tai to discuss the future. After half a day, those people left the Sima family. Sima Yue, and Sima Yue went to look for Sima Tai. It just so happened that the clan's elders were there as well. "Grandfather, we have something to discuss with you," Sima Yue said. Sima Tai looked at them saying, "I knew the moment you came in. Tell me, what is it that requires all three of you to come together?" "Grandfather, we've seen many things this time." Sima Yue told him about the people they had met in the Little Realm, how they had no choice but to go to the Restless Continent, as well as what they had seen and heard in the Restless Continent. "Are there really so many continents outside?" Eldest Elder asked. "Yes," Sima Yue said. "Our continent has been called a prison continent by others for the purpose of imprisoning a few people. The spiritual energy here is the thinnest, and because of the restrictions, we cannot advance to the divine rank. The highest we can reach is the peak of Spirit Paragon." "You're saying that the continents outside can advance to the divine rank?" Sima Lin asked. Many of their clan elders had been at the peak of Spirit Paragon for many years, but they had never been able to break through to the spirit rank until they died of old age. It turned out that it was not because they were at the peak, but because of the restrictions of the heavens. "That's right," Sima Yue nodded, saying, "When we were outside, we discussed it a bit, and decided to move our clan to the Restless Continent." Move. Nobody thought that they would say such a crazy thing. Moving the entire clan would involve too many things. The few elders looked at each other, and were a little hesitant about this decision. They were a first-rate power here, and the Restless Continent was so powerful. Would they be able to survive there? "Elders, you don't have to worry that you won't be able to survive there." Sima Yue understood their concerns, saying, "We have already made a preliminary plan there. Once everyone goes there, they will have their own businesses to support their livelihood. Furthermore, there will be two first-rate powers to take care of them, so no one will dare to provoke us in the short term. After a few decades or 100 years, we will be able to develop." "Why do you have businesses there?" Sima Lin asked. "Didn't we just say that we were going to attack the Zhang clan and the Sage Pavilion?" Sima Yue said. "I have already discussed it with the Guo clan and the Yun clan. We will take 40% of the Zhang clan's business and use it to support your livelihood." "Are they willing?" Eldest Elder asked. Yu was already their benefactor, and even gave them 10 divinity pills as compensation. How could they not be willing? Sima Yue said. "It's also because of this that they agreed to take care of us." "Divinity pills? What kind of pills are those?" 10 divinity pills were enough to get the two great clans to give in. Divinity pills can allow a person at the peak of Spirit Paragon to advance to the divine rank. Giving them 10 divinity pills is equivalent to giving them a divine rank. Sima Yue explained. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. There was actually such a pill. "Did you refine this pill yourself?" Sima Tai asked. "Of course." Sima Yue said. "Don't we also have 2 elders and an ancestor who are at the peak of Spirit Paragon? When we go there, we can give them divinity pills. As long as they advance to the divine rank, we will be able to establish ourselves there. After a while, Master will come to pick us up. If I leave, I probably won't return here again. You have to think carefully about what you want to do." While those elders were still silent, Sima Tai patted his thigh, saying, "We will go with you." Sima Yue was not surprised. As long as they wanted to go up, they would not stay here. Since this is the case, let's get everyone to prepare. Chapter 404. The Sima family started to reduce their assets quickly, changing all the useless things into medicinal ingredients and sending them to the main family. The family shops were all sold, not leaving a single shop. When the Sima family was packing up, Sima Yue left the main family with Sima Lai and the others, heading towards the Sophia mountain range. They would not forget that there was a Sima family on the other side of the Sophia mountain range, as well as Wei Ziqi's relatives. The Sophia mountain range that was like a natural moat to them was now like a deserted land. The dangers of the past were no longer there. That natural barrier. Sima Yu punched a few times and opened up a passage. The few of them quickly walked in, and the barrier closed up. Entering the Dongchen kingdom, they did not use the teleportation array. Instead, they sat on Little Rock and flew back. This was where they used to live. If they left this time, they might never return. They wanted to take a good look at the scenery here. A few days later, they returned to the capital of the Dongchen kingdom. Outside the city walls, the few of them got off their flying beasts and looked at the familiar city walls. I never thought that we would be gone for so many years. I wonder how our family is doing now. Fatty Chu said. Who knows, things might have changed. Let's go back first. Sima Yue said. Yue, I'll go back to my house first and see if my family is willing to come. If they are, I'll bring them to the capital to look for you. Wei Ziqi said. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Wei Ziqi called out his own flying beast and quickly flew back to his clan. Let's go back. Sima Yue patted the excited Fatty Chu and went in with Bei Gong Tang and the others. The soldiers guarding the city walls had already changed a generation. These new soldiers did not recognize them at all. Seeing them walk in, they all turned around to look. Grandfather, when you left that time, did you think that you would come back like this? Sima Yue walked beside Sima Lai and asked with a smile. At that time, I only thought that nothing would happen to you. I thought that I would die without a doubt. I didn't even think that I would survive, much less come back. Sima Lai sighed. If it wasn't for you, we would indeed be gone by now. I told the butler that if we didn't come back for a few years, the Sima family would belong to them. I wonder how it is now. Sima Yue said. We'll know when we go back and take a look. Sima Yuran said. Not long after Fatty Chu entered the city, he parted ways with them. He also wanted to go home first to see his own newbies, and ask them if they were willing to leave this place and go to the restless continent together. Sima Yue and her granddaughter were chatting and laughing as they walked towards the Sima residence. The people on the street all looked over in surprise when they saw them. That's Sima Jiangfeng and Sima Young Masters. They're really back. It's really them. Are they still leaving now that they're back? Haha, when fifth young master left, he said that he would be back. Now they're really back. Someone received the news and quickly ran towards the Sima residence. When Sima Yue and the others arrived, Uncle Fu had already brought the Sima family to welcome them at the entrance. Welcome back, Master and Young Master. Uncle Fu bowed deeply to them. Sima Yue went forward to support Uncle Fu and smiled. How has Uncle Fu been all these years? Good. Uncle Fu's eyes were filled with tears as he nodded. Let's go in and talk. Sima Lai patted Uncle Fu's shoulder when he saw that the surroundings were filled with people. Master and Young Master, please come in. Uncle Fu wiped the tears off his face and invited Sima Lai and the others in. The Sima residence was already different from when they left. The house had only been renovated a few years ago and looked new. Some places had already been changed. These were all designed by Young Master. Only a few places have changed. Everything else is about the same. Uncle Fu said when he saw Sima Lai and the others admiring the house. It's been hard on you. Sima Lai said as he looked at Sima Yue. When they were captured, everyone knew what kind of situation the Sima family was in. However, she had led everyone through it. If not for her alchemy and beast taming, the Sima family would have been finished. Sima Yue smiled and said, Grandfather, let's talk about serious matters with them. Okay. Sima Lai looked at Uncle Fu and said, we want to leave this continent and go to a better one. The main family is already preparing to leave. Are you willing to leave with us? Uncle Fu did not expect Sima Lai to say such explosive news the moment he returned. He was stunned for a moment before saying, wherever Master goes, we will follow. Then go and ask the people in the family if they are willing to leave together. If they are willing, let them pack their things. If they are not willing, give them some of the property here. Sima Lai said, we are a little pressed for time. Let everyone make a decision as soon as possible. Yes, Master. I will bring you all to rest. After that, I will deal with this matter. Uncle Fu said. Uncle Fu brought them to the courtyard to rest. Then without stopping, he sent people to call all the stewards in the capital back. 3 days later, Wei Ziqi brought the people from the Wei family over. The Chu family also sent news that they were already taking inventory of all their property. After a few more days, everyone was ready. Sima Yue and Sima Lai took some time to look for the old principal of the academy. The old principal was very happy to see them. However, when they invited him earlier, he rejected them. He could not let go of the students here. He could not abandon them and leave by himself. Sima Yue did not force him. Not everyone had to make the same choice. On the contrary, the old principal who gave up on leaving for the sake of the students was worthy of her respect. Today, Fatty Chu brought the Chu family over. Sima Yue did not want to leave anyone behind. She called Little Peng and brought everyone away. Dongchen Kingdom. She probably would not come back in the future. It was the first time that the Wei family and the Chu family left the Dongchen Kingdom. If they wanted to live after leaving, they would have to rely on the Sima family. However, Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu did their best to ensure that the Sima family was good and would not mistreat them. Only then did they decide to leave. When they returned to Anyang City, the Sima family had already taken inventory of their property. They could leave at any time. Yue, someone is looking for you. She saw Sima Yuyang the moment she returned. Looking for me? Who is it? Sima Yue did not know who would look for her at this time. Could it be that master had come? She let Sima Yuyang help to arrange for the Chu and Wei families. She went to the living room of the main courtyard. The moment she entered, she saw a house full of people. Some she knew, some she didn't. When those people saw her enter, they were all excited. Clan leader. Sima Yue bowed to Sima Tai. Yue, they said that they want to leave with us. What do you think? Remember, it's convenient for the next time. Chapter 405. Sima Yu glanced around. The Hua clan, Sang clan, and even the Li clan were there. When they saw her looking over, everyone smiled at them. The matter of the Sima family taking stock of their family assets was not a secret. At first, no one knew what they were going to do, but later on, someone leaked the news, and the news that the Sima family was going to leave the Yilin continent spread. Thus, those who had ideas could no longer sit still. The major families had been in contact with a lot of things and naturally knew some clues. They wanted to pursue greater strength and naturally wanted to break away from the shackles of this place. The Hua family and the Sang family had a good relationship with the Sima family, so there wasn't much pressure for them to come here. The Li family felt that they had some ties with Sima Yue. Although they had some unhappiness in the past, she still managed to snatch him back. The Nailan clan had initially wanted to come, but when they thought of the grudge between them, they knew that it would be useless even if they came. They might as well wait for all these people to leave, and then their clan would dominate the Yilin continent. Yue, our two families can be considered old friends. If you're leaving, please take us with you. The Hua family's patriarch said with a smile. Patriarch, you can make the decision on this matter. I have no objections. I don't care who you want to bring and how you want to live there. Sima Yue said. Master, I still have some matters to attend to. I'll take my leave first. After saying that, she left the hall. She believed that Sima Tai, that sly old fox, would definitely not be at a disadvantage. Who would be allowed to go and what kind of price they would have to pay. He would definitely obtain more benefits for the clan, so there was no need for her to worry. Anyway, it didn't matter if she brought one person or a group of people. It didn't really matter. After settling the Chu clan and Wei clan, Sima Yue, Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei went to South Yu Kingdom. Ouyang Fei wanted to ask his mother for her opinion, while she wanted to go to the sacred city to take a look. She and Bei Gongtang had gone to Sacred City. Thinking back to the time when they had come here and experienced all those dangers, she sighed in her heart. She always felt that the creature suppressed below had something to do with them. She also had a feeling that she might come back here for it one day. The two of them went to the sacred city. The Sima family had already evacuated. They went straight to the middle of the city. The one who opened the door was still Lu Yun. When she saw Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang, she cried out in disbelief, causing her two brothers to run out of the house. It's just the three of you at home? Where's the road name? Sima Yue stepped into the courtyard and asked with a smile. Are you looking for second brother? He's at the Union. I'll call him back. Lu Yuan ran out after saying that. Young Master Sima, Miss Bei Gong, please have a seat. Xia Yuan Meng served tea to the two of them. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang sat under a big tree in the courtyard and chatted with Lu Yuan and the others, asking them about their recent lives. After a while, Lu Ming came back. When he saw Sima Yue, he was also very excited. Sima Yue smiled and said, "Since both of you are here, I will tell you the reason for my visit. You should have heard about the Sima family leaving the holy city, right?" Yes. Lu Yuan and the others nodded. It's like this. Our Sima family is planning to leave this continent and move to another continent to live. I want to ask you, are you willing to leave with us? Sima Yue said. Leave this place? The Lu siblings looked at Sima Yue in shock. They had never thought of leaving this continent. Sima Yue briefly explained the difference between the two continents, then said, Lu Ming, you know alchemy. If you go there, you can live with the Sima family. We need to think about it. Lu Ming said. It had to be said that this was a good opportunity for development. However, they were still hesitant to leave the place where they grew up. Think about it carefully. We will come back in 2 days. Sima Yue said as she stood up and left the holy city with Bei Gong Tang. The two of them went to 10,000 Beast Mountain. Not long after they left, they entered the Spirit Pagoda and stayed there for 10 days before coming out. When they saw the Lu siblings, Lu Ming's first words were, "We will go with you." They did not have anything to worry about here. As long as the siblings were together, it was the same anywhere. I still have to go and tell the Union, Lu Ming said. Okay, we will leave in half a day, Sima Yue said. Lu Yuan and the others packed up their belongings. Lu Ming went to the Union to tell them that they were leaving. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang sat under a big tree in the courtyard, drinking tea and chatting. Half a day later, they left the holy city. At the foot of Dragon Reflection Mountain, in the thick black fog, a pair of eyes quietly opened. It only closed again when Sima Yue and the others flew over Dragon Reflection Mountain. Sima Yue and the others went to South Yu Kingdom and met Ouyang Fei. He was waiting for them alone. He said that Sang Muyu did not want to leave. His grandfather and the others did not want to leave either. He did not force them and planned to embark on the journey alone. The group returned to Anyang City, and everyone was ready to leave. When they saw Sima Yue, everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. When she came back, she found out that Sima Tai had agreed to the requests of the clans. However, he had put forward a condition. They could only bring the clan's disciples and not outsiders. Furthermore, they had to rely on the Sima family. Hence, it was best for everyone to form a new power and not exist in the form of a clan. Since there were fewer people from the other clans going, the new power would naturally be decided by the Sima family. When everyone was ready, everyone turned to look at Sima Yue. They all wanted to ask her when they could leave, but no one had the courage to do so. Sima Yue was not in a hurry. She stayed in her courtyard and fiddled with some medicinal ingredients all day long, refining some powder. She completely ignored the gazes of those people. After another 10 days, Old Man Devil finally arrived. The moment he arrived, he stared at Little Meng, who was playing with Sima Yue in the courtyard. Little Meng's sharp senses sensed that someone was coming. Just as she was about to attack, she was stopped by Sima Yue. She said, "That's Master. Don't be afraid." Old Man Devil came to Sima Yue's side and looked at Little Meng. He said, "Where did you get this dark magic beast?" "I found it in the sea," Sima Yue said. "Didn't I tell you to come earlier? Why did you take so long?" "I was delayed by some matters," Old Man Devil said. "Are you ready?" "I'm ready. Let's go. I'll take you to see them." Sima Yue held Little Meng's hand and went outside. She let Sima Tai gather everyone. Old Man Devil looked at the people on the mountain top and pursed his lips. He said, "So many people? I can't build a stable passage that can support everyone." "I know," Sima Yue said. Every time she saw them enter the passage would close. She knew that the passage could not be maintained for long. "If you know, then why did you get me so many people?" Old Man Devil glared at her. I didn't say that I wanted all of them to go through the passage, Sima Yue said as she took out a medicine bottle. A fragrance floated out. The surrounding people who smelled the fragrance all fainted on the ground. Chapter 406. Yue, what happened to them? Sima Lai and the rest looked at her in shock when they saw that everyone had collapsed. Sima Tai, what did you do to us? Those who had not fainted shouted at Sima Tai. Sima Tai didn't know what was going on either. He looked at Sima Yue in astonishment. At the same time, Wei Ziqi, Sima Yuyang and the others who were scattered amongst the crowd also took out the same medicine bottles and opened the corks. Bang! Bang! People fell one after another. Those who didn't know what was going on felt a sense of fear in their hearts. If the Sima family wanted to do anything to them, they had no power to resist at all. Sima Yue looked at the angry family heads and said, "Don't worry, when you wake up, you will already be in the restless continent. It's just that this process needs to be kept secret, so I'll have to trouble everyone." The family heads wanted to say something, but even they couldn't resist Sima Yue's bewitching incense and fell down one after another. Even the Sima family was no exception. In the end, apart from Sima Yuyang and a few others who had taken the antidote in advance and didn't faint, only Yun Yi and Old Man Devil were left. Old Man Devil looked at the people in the mountain and said, "How do you plan on taking them away?" "That's easy." Sima Yue waved her hand, and all the people on the mountains were sent into her spirit pagoda. "What kind of treasure is this?" Old Man Devil asked in surprise. Sima Yue smiled and brought the rest of the people in. Old Man Devil's reaction when he entered the spirit pagoda was similar to the others. However, he quickly regained his senses and looked at Sima Yue. "I didn't expect you to have such a treasure. Not bad, not bad. Second Valley Lord, you don't know, but time passes faster here than outside. 1 day outside is 10 days inside." Yuni was very excited when she said this. This was simply a super cheat. Old Man Devil raised his eyebrows. There was actually such a function? "Master, let me show you around," Sima Yue said with a smile. "All right." Sima Yue and Old Man Devil took a tour of the place where they lived, and Old Man Devil was amazed. Especially when he found out that it was actually a 7-layered pagoda, he was even more shocked. This 7-layered pagoda used to be the guardian treasure of a super sect above. It has been lost for a long time. I didn't think that you would be able to obtain it. "Master, since the tour is over, let's get moving," Sima Yue said. "Okay." Old Man Devil knew that Sima Yue was in a hurry to go there. Sima Yue brought him out. He created a tunnel in the air. Just as they were about to leave, a figure flew over in a hurry. "Please wait a moment." That person saw the passage in the air and called out. When Sima Yue saw who it was, she was stunned for a moment before she called Ouyang Fei over. When Ouyang Fei saw her, he exclaimed, "Mother!" Sang Muyu flew over and saw that Ouyang Fei was still there. She rejoiced and said, "Luckily you haven't left yet." "Mother, why are you here?" Ouyang Fei asked. Sang Muyu looked at her son lovingly and said, "My parents have many children, but I only have you as my son." "Mother, are you leaving with me?" Ouyang Fei asked excitedly. Sang Muyu smiled and nodded. When Ouyang Fei came back and told her that he was leaving, she was indeed hesitant. Because her family was unwilling to leave, she didn't want to leave. However, when Ouyang Fei left, she realized that she would never be able to see her son again. She regretted it and chased after him with her mother's support. Luckily she made it in time. When she saw Ouyang Fei, her anxious heart finally calmed down. It seemed that her decision to chase after him was the right one. "Yue?" Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue excitedly. Sima Yue smiled and said, "It's great that Auntie can leave with us. Since that's the case, let's bring her in." Ouyang Fei wanted to ask if they should follow the others, but heard her say, "Auntie will definitely follow you in the future. It's okay if she knows about this. You guys can go in." As she said that, she kept Ouyang Fei and Sang Muyu into her spirit pagoda. Sang Muyu didn't understand Sima Yue's words when she saw her surroundings change. She was already in another place. Wei Ziqi and the rest were surprised when they saw Sang Muyu. But they all went forward and bowed. "Greetings to Auntie." Sang Muyu grabbed Ouyang Fei's hand and said, "Fei, this. Mother, don't be afraid. This is Yoyue's place. I'll bring you around and tell you about this place." Ouyang Fei held his mother's hand and said, "Okay." Outside, Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue and said, "Let's go. If we don't go, the passage is going to close." "Master, please." The two of them entered the passage. At the same time, a few people flew over from afar. They wanted to rush in before the passage closed, but the moment they stepped in, they were hit by an attack. Pung, pung, pung. Those people fell directly to the ground, gritting their teeth in pain. They could only watch as the passageway closed. "We just wanted to borrow the passage, but he actually chased us out. That damned old man." The Nailing clan's patriarch stood up and touched his waist. As for the others, they were also elders of the Nailing clan. Just as he finished cursing, the passage opened up again, making everyone happy. However, before they could fly up again, a hand formed from spiritual energy reached out from the passage and grabbed the Nailing clan's patriarch. With a pung sound, he was crushed into a bloody mist. After that, the passage closed up again. The elders of the Nailing clan stared blankly at the place where their patriarch was standing. Smelling the bloody smell in the air, they were stunned. The patriarch is dead. On a mountain peak somewhere in the restless continent, a passage slowly opened up in the air and two figures walked out. "Okay, I'm going back up," Old Man Devil said as he came out. Sima Yue bowed to Old Man Devil and said, "Master, take care." How much scarlet honey do you have? I don't know when I'll see you again. Give me some, I'll use it for alchemy." Old Man Devil stared at Sima Yue as she asked him to leave. "Master, don't you have a lot of scarlet bees?" Sima Yue rolled her eyes at Old Man Devil. As a master, he didn't give his disciple a gift before leaving and instead asked her for something. How embarrassing. "How can the scarlet bees produce enough honey for me?" Old Man Devil said. "I knew it." Sima Yue took out a palm-sized glass bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil. It was filled with scarlet honey. "I've already prepared it for you." "Only this much?" Old Man Devil stared. "This is the spatial container that Fatty only learned how to refine recently. If you think it's too little, then give it back." Sima Yue pretended to snatch it back. Old Man Devil probed it with his mental energy and found that it was half the size of a house. It was filled with scarlet honey. He laughed as he opened the passage and left. "Go up when you reach God rank. Those bastards all want to see you." Old Man Devil's voice came from the spatial passage. Chapter 407. Sima Yue didn't think much of Old Man Devil's last words. Those people wanted to see her, just like Ying Baichuan, to see if she was qualified to be a junior valley master. She wasn't in the mood to deal with these people. She looked around and found that they were in the mountain range not far from the Yun family. Back then, they had been in seclusion here for half a year. She called out Yuni, Bei Gongtang and the others and flew towards the Yun family. Very quickly, she saw the Yun family's mansion. Seeing that Yuni and Sima Yue had returned, Yin Jinwei was very happy and said, "Junior Valley Master has returned at the right time. The Zhang clan and the Sage Pavilion have been making some moves recently, and have decided to use force to suppress us. Si Ming and I were just talking yesterday. If you guys don't come back soon, you'll miss it." They had also agreed that if Sima Yue really did not come back, they would keep the Zhang family's assets for them for a period of time. If she came back, they would still give her part of the Zhang family's assets. After all, if it weren't for the divinity elixir she gave them, they wouldn't have so many god-level personnel. Now that she was back, it was even better. She could personally participate in the battle, and she wouldn't feel awkward putting away her things. "It seems like you guys have come up with a plan yesterday," Sima Yue said confidently. "The Junior Valley Master is indeed intelligent. After we received news from the Zhang clan and the Sage Pavilion, we came up with a countermeasure." Yin Jinwei smiled and said, "In the end, we came up with two plans. One was when you returned, and the other was when you didn't. Now that you're back, the other plan is useless. The Sage Pavilion really wants to stand on the same side as the Zhang clan," Sima Yue said. Ever since she found out from Old Man Devil that the upper echelons could not interfere with the lower echelons, she was no longer afraid of going against the Sage Pavilion, daring to team up with others to kill the Divine Devil Valley's people in the Little Realm. The enmity between the Sage Pavilion and the Divine Devil Valley had been completely formed. Ming should still be with us today. I will send someone to invite him over, Yin Jinwei said. If he knows that you are back, he will definitely be very happy. Yin Feng, bring the Junior Valley Master back to his courtyard to rest. Yes, father, Yin Feng replied. Yin Jinwei bowed to Sima Yue and turned to leave. Junior Valley Master, please. Yin Feng gestured for Sima Yue to go first. Xiaoming held Sima Yue's hand and said, Master, the house here is so big. It's even bigger than the Sima family. Does little Meng like to live in a big house? Sima Yue lowered her head and asked with a smile. Little Dream thinks the big house looks good. Little Dream looked left and right, very curious. How about we ask them to build a big house later? Good master is so good, Little Dream said with a smile. When Yunfeng, who was following behind Sima Yue, heard Xiaoming call Sima Yue master, he looked at Xiaoming in surprise. If she called Sima Yue her master, wouldn't she be a beast in human form? It was his first time seeing a beast in human form at such a young age. He remembered that Sima Yue did not have such a beast by her side before she left. Then when did she take Xiaoming in? He looked at Yuni and Yuni shook her head at him, indicating that he should not ask too much. Sima Yue and the others went to the courtyard where they lived before. Because they knew that they would return, the courtyard was left empty for them, and people came to clean it every day. Yuni and Yunfeng left after bringing them here. Yue, when do you plan to bring those people out? Wei Ziqi waited for them to disappear before asking. To be safe, his family members had also fainted. Although it would not affect their bodies, he still wanted them to come out as soon as possible. Once we settle the Zhan family's matter, we will let them out, Sima Yue said. There were more people here. Now that the Yun and Guo families were fighting against the Zhan family and the Sage Pavilion, they probably did not have much time to arrange for them. It was better to let them sleep quietly in the Spirit Pagoda. That's good too. It's so chaotic now. It's not good if they come out injured or get hurt by the Zhan family. Fatty Chu nodded. When the Zhan and Yun family patriarchs come, we will ask them for the details, Sima Yue said. Now we will think of a way to find out some information. How? Fatty Chu asked. Naturally, we will make use of our powerful helpers. Sima Yue smiled mysteriously. It's the Scarlet Bees, Bei Gong Tang said. Sima Yue nodded. In a while, let the Yun family patriarch find some people to bring the Scarlet Bees to the Sage Pavilion and the Zhan family to find out. They have a natural contract with the Scarlet Queen Bee. Even if they are far away, the Scarlet Queen Bee will be able to hear the news they send back. Won't the Scarlet Bees be too conspicuous? Ouyang Fei was a little worried that the Scarlet Bees would be recognized. Sima Yue took out a Scarlet Bee and let it transform. The Scarlet Bee's body became smaller and smaller, until it was no different from a normal bee. These little guys should be good at eavesdropping in the future. Fatty Chu stretched out his hand to poke the Scarlet Bee and said, That's right. Wei Ziqi agreed. Furthermore, there are many of them and they are faster. The most important thing is that they can hide the fluctuations of spiritual energy in their bodies. They look like normal bees and won't attract attention. That was what she thought when she used the Scarlet Bees to find out information in Forgotten Worry Island. It would be very convenient to use them to find out information in the future. After a while, Guo Ximing and Yin Jinwei came together. When they saw her, he bowed deeply and said, Many thanks to the Junior Valley Master for the divinity pill. It has allowed the Guo family to have 5 more divine ranks. Patriarch Guo is too courteous. That was the condition of our exchange. You don't have to thank me, Sima Yue said. Now, let's talk about the current situation and the countermeasures you have decided on, Yin Jinwei suggested. All right. Before that, I need Patriarch Yin to do something, Sima Yue said. 10 minutes later, a group of guards each brought a cage covered in cloth and left the Yin residence. They used the teleportation array to go to different cities. The people from the Spirit Master Guild saw the Yun family members leave one by one with the cages. Nobody knew what was inside. Yin Jinwei and the others initially thought that Sima Yoyue's actions were superfluous. However, because of their relationship, he still sent people to do as Sima Yoyue said. After that, Sima Yoyue asked them to come back the next day to discuss the matter. On the morning of the second day, Yin Jinwei and Guo Ximing came to look for her again. Junior Valley Master, according to the information we received, the Zhan family will gather their forces in this half a month and attack us. Yin Jinwei said, "Our people are scattered all over the continent. We will send people to gather them. It will take about half a month for them to come and go. This time is just right." Guo Ximing said. Sima Yoyue smiled and said, "But the truth is not like that." Chapter 408. The truth wasn't like that? Junior Valley Master, you're saying that the news we received was wrong? Yin Jinwei said. That's right. Sima Yoyue nodded, saying, the chi that we sent out yesterday came back in the middle of the night, saying that the Zhan clan and the Sage Pavilion are preparing to attack your two clans in 5 days. It's 10 days earlier than the news you received. They're attacking in 5 days? Didn't they not gather their men yet? Guo Ximing said. No, they had already started gathering them half a month ago. Sima Yoyue said. They knew that you had people hiding over there, so they beat you at your own game. They purposely let those people get the news and pass it on to you. They purposely confused you and let you slowly gather your men. Then they'll attack first and catch you off guard. Really? The two clan heads were shocked. If what Sima Yoyue said was true, then they were in danger this time. They had a few divine ranks that would only return after 12 days. If the Zhan clan attacked first, then their divine ranks would definitely be inferior. One had to know that one more divine rank could completely change the situation. Moreover, they had a few fewer divine ranks than the enemy. Then we should hurry them and get them to come back quickly, Yin Jinwei said. It's too late, Guo Ximing said. Those that were sent out by our two clans are all far away. Those that are close have already returned. Those that are far away will need a few days to come back. Beat them at their own game. I didn't think that our men would be discovered, Yin Jinwei said. Then what do we do now? What else can we do? They have a lot more divine ranks than us. If we fight them before all of our men return, we'll just be looking for death. Guo Ximing was very clear about the Zhan clan and the Sage Pavilion's power. He originally thought that it would be enough to get everyone back. He didn't think that the enemy would give them a smoke bomb, causing them to almost die where they were. He thought about it and said, from what I see, we can only retreat temporarily and avoid their attack first. But once we escape, it'll be difficult to come back, Yin Jinwei said. That's still better than being completely wiped out. Guo Ximing was open-minded. Where there's life, there's hope. If we all die here, there's no hope at all. Is there really no other way? Yin Jinwei said bitterly. Everything had been planned out, but they didn't expect the other party to change the timing, making their plan completely useless. If it wasn't for Sima Yoyue, they would have been caught off guard. Alas, Guo Ximing sighed unwillingly. Sima Yoyue saw that the two of them were losing their morale the more they talked. She coughed twice and said, How could you guys forget about me? I have people too. Guo Ximing shook his head and said, Junior Valley Master, the situation is different now. Originally, with the addition of your newly ascended deities, we should be able to match them in strength. However, our deities usually go to other places in the clan, and these people make up a third of our deities. That's why we have 10 fewer deities than them. That's right. Yin Jinwei sighed. Although the Junior Valley Master has 2 sacred beasts, compared to them, we are still too weak. We can't compete with them. Who said I only have 2 sacred beasts? Sima Yoyue said faintly. Even if you have 2 more, there's nothing we can do, Yin Jinwei said. It was already rare for a youngster to have 1 sacred beast as a contract beast, let alone 2. For someone like Sima Yoyue who had an extraordinary status, having 3 was already the best they could think of. That's why when Sima Yoyue said that, they subconsciously thought that she had 3 sacred beasts. Indeed, I only have 2 sacred beasts. Sima Yue said. But I have other spirit beasts. Although they haven't contracted with me, they have promised to listen to me. Are you talking about the saber-toothed tiger and the snow wolf clan? Yin Jinwei asked. Guo Siming also wanted to ask about this. Both of them thought about what their children had said about Sima Yue having a group of sacred beasts. That's right. Sima Yue nodded. I heard from Pei Pei that many of them are spirit paragons. However, they have just left the little realm not too long ago. It's not that easy for them to become sacred beasts. Guo Siming said. Have you forgotten what I have in my hands? Sima Yue said. Are you talking about the divinity pill? Yin Jinwei's eyes lit up, saying, but isn't the divinity pill for humans to use? It's also effective for spirit beasts. Sima Yue replied. Yin Jinwei and Guo Siming's eyes lit up. If that was the case, then how many sacred beasts did she have? Junior Valley Master, how many sacred beasts does the Snow Wolf clan and the Saber-Toothed Tiger clan have? Yin Jinwei asked. 38. Including my 2 contracted beasts, I have a total of 40 sacred beasts. Sima Yue said. With this kind of power, do you still need to run? SSS-. Yin Jinwei and Guo Siming sucked in a breath of air. She alone had 40 sacred beasts by her side. It was more than the 2 clans before they used the divinity pill. Haha, we're not running anymore. We're not running anymore. Guo Siming laughed loudly. This happiness came too suddenly. He felt as if he was on a roller coaster. He had just fallen from the peak to the bottom of the valley, and now he was flying from the bottom of the valley back to the peak. Although Yin Jinwei and Guo Siming were happy, they were still shocked by the power of the spirit beasts by Sima Yue's side. This was enough to kill any clan. Since that's the case, then let's discuss how to deal with this matter. Sima Yue said, since the other party wants to beat us at our own game, we can also beat them at their own game. Alright. Yin Jinwei agreed. They know that we won't be able to gather all of our people in a short period of time, so they sent all of their divine ranks to deal with us. With the divine ranks of our 2 clans and the sacred beasts by the Junior Valley Master's side, it's enough to keep them all here. That's right. Guo Siming agreed. We'll wait here for them to come, then we'll catch them off guard. Ha ha ha. The situation had changed too quickly. When they thought of the other party's expression when they saw that their strength was far beyond their imagination, they were very happy. This time, they definitely had to keep the main forces of the Zhang clan and the Sage Pavilion here. Not only that, Sima Yue said, according to the news I've received, they will bring most of their people here this time. They originally wanted to exterminate both of your clans. However, this has given us a chance. The Junior Valley Master wants to, Sima Yue smiled evilly. Didn't they bring all of their people here, and the people from your 2 clans couldn't make it back in time? It's just nice that their rear is empty. Let those people go and take care of them. We'll settle it all in one go. Chapter 409. Junior Valley Master's idea is not bad. Since those people won't be able to make it back in time, why don't we let them raid the Zhang clan and the Sage Pavilion's nest? Yin Jinwei's eyes lit up. Then it's decided. I'll immediately arrange for people to inform those who can't make it back. Guo Siming said. Alright, you guys go ahead. I'll let you guys know if there's any news. Sima Yue said. Throughout the entire process, she only needed to provide the personnel at the end. Everything else needed to be discussed between the 2 families, and had nothing to do with her. They naturally understood what Sima Yue meant, and left to arrange other things. Sima Yue had not been cultivating for the past few days. Instead, she had been reading the books that Old Man Devil had given her before he left. These were all precious books on refining high-grade elixirs. She had been replenishing her knowledge recently. Over the past few days, many High God Realm experts had come to the cities where the Yin and Guo family resided. However, once they left the Soul Master Guild, they disappeared without a trace. The people in charge of monitoring the 2 clans naturally sent the news back to their clans. When Yin Jinwei and Guo Siming heard the news, they rejoiced. Fortunately, Sima Yue had received the news in advance. Otherwise, they would not have discovered the abnormality in the city, and would not have taken precautions. On this day, Sima Yue finally put away her book and left the house. As soon as she went out, she saw Yuni waiting under the big tree in the courtyard. When he saw her come out, he stood up and said, "Father asked me to take you directly to the front." "Okay." Sima Yue nodded. Wei Ziqi and the others had already finished their preparations, and the group of them left the bee courtyard and went to the main courtyard. The Snow Wolf clan and Saber-Toothed Tiger clan's sacred beasts had been sent out by her 2 days ago. One was from each clan, while the other was from the Spirit Beast clan. The Snow Wolf remained in the Yun clan. When Sima Yue and the rest walked over, they saw that the sky above the main courtyard was already filled with people. They had surrounded the entire Yun residence. Yin Jinwei brought the elders and stood in the courtyard. When he saw Sima Yue walking over, he bowed to her. Sima Yue nodded, then looked at the people in white robes in the sky and said, "Are these people from the Sage Pavilion?" "Yes, young Valley Master. The Zhang clan has gone to the Guo clan, and the Sage Pavilion has come to our place. Is the person in charge here?" Sima Yue asked. "Their pavilion lord did not come, but the vice pavilion lord brought the Holy Sun," Yin Jinwei replied. "The young man in the middle is the Holy Sun." Sima Yue glanced at the Holy Sun, saying, "You've just become a spirit paragon. You're so weak, but you dare to join in the fun." The Holy Sun saw that Sima Yue had arrived, and Yin Jinwei was very respectful to her. He was suspicious of her identity, and wanted to find out who she was from their conversation. However, he did not expect her to look down on his strength. He said angrily, "Who are you to dare say that I am weak?" Sima Yue did not like to raise her head to talk to others. She leapt into the air and said, "If I were you, I would obediently hide in the sacred palace and not come out. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know how I died. I don't care who you are. Today, you are unlucky to be with the Yun clan. Today, no one from the Yun clan will leave here alive." The Holy Sun snorted. "TSK, TSK, TSK. Didn't you say that the Sage Pavilion is the messenger of the Light God, and that they love all living things? They are really vicious when it comes to killing people," Sima Yue said. Your Yin clan secretly gathered forces to harm the Zhang clan and destroy the balance of power in the continent. As the protectors of the continent, we naturally have to uphold justice and exterminate you people who harm the citizens," the Holy Sun shouted. The Yin clan patriarch also came up. He glanced coldly at the Sage Pavilion and said, "Your Sage Pavilion and the Zhang clan joined forces to exterminate my Yin clan. You even said that we wanted to harm the citizens. If you want to find an excuse, you should find a better one. However, since you are here today, we have accepted it. Since you are here, you can stay." "Yin Jinwei, do you think we don't know what you are doing in secret?" The Vice Pavilion Master stood beside the Holy Sun and looked at Yin Jinwei. "You want to exterminate the Zhang clan and weaken the Sage Pavilion's power. Naturally, we will not agree. We know that you are secretly calling back your divine ranks, but they can't come back. Today, we will exterminate your Yun clan and then take care of your remaining members. You want to exterminate my Yun clan? What a joke!" Yin Jinwei said fearlessly. Don't think that we don't know that you have planted people in the Zhang clan and the Sage Pavilion," the Vice Pavilion Master said. "You didn't think that we would beat you at your own game and let them send back false information. At the same time, we have planted people here and know that your people can't come back." Yin Jinwei looked at the Vice Pavilion Master with a look of disdain and said, "If you know how to beat us at our own game, why can't we? We have already discovered your people long ago. We will return them to you now." The moment he finished speaking, a few people were thrown out, and all of them stopped breathing. The Vice Pavilion Master lowered his head to look. Those people were the spies that the Sage Pavilion had planted. Looking at Yin Jinwei's calm expression, he didn't seem to be flustered at all. His heart skipped a beat, and an ominous premonition began to spread. However, thinking that the Yun clan's people really couldn't come back, they were sure of this news, so he calmed down. However, Yin Jinwei's next move made him feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Yin Jinwei clapped his hands, and a group of divine ranks flew over. There were only 10 of them. "You want to fight us with just these few divine ranks?" The Holy Sun didn't think much of the Yun clan. Yin Jinwei smiled and said, "Look behind you." The Sage Pavilion's people turned their heads and saw that a group of sacred beasts and high-leveled divine beasts had surrounded them. 20 sacred beasts. The Vice Pavilion Master's face darkened. Just these sacred beasts were enough to exterminate them, not to mention the Yun clan's people. Why are there so many sacred beasts? The Holy Sun saw the snow wolves surrounding them and was so scared that he almost fell from the sky. Good Yun clan, you actually dared to set up a cloud of suspicion and led us into a trap, the Vice Pavilion Master said through gritted teeth. You're so thick-skinned, Fatty Chu said. These people came to exterminate the Yun clan as a matter of course, but they became the victims after being set up. They had seen shameless people before, but they had never seen people as shameless as them. Why are you still talking nonsense? Just go and exterminate them, Fatty Chu said. Yun clan, listen to my orders. Leave all of the Sage Pavilion's people behind, Yin Jinwei ordered. Yes. The Yun clan's people replied in unison, their voices booming like thunder. The Sage Pavilion's people panicked, and the Vice Pavilion Master shouted, Yin Jinwei, if you dare to kill my Sage Pavilion's people, my Pavilion Master will definitely avenge us. Yin Jinwei laughed loudly. My Yun clan's elders have already gone to your Sage Pavilion's main pavilion. I'm afraid that your Pavilion Master has already gone ahead of you. Go. Chapter 410. But they didn't think that there would be so many sacred beasts. Everyone's morale immediately soared. Receiving their own patriarch's orders, everyone attacked the people from the Sage Pavilion. The morale of the Sage Pavilion's people was originally very high, but after seeing the sacred beast, they were all stunned, and their morale never returned. Facing the attacks of the Yun family, they could only passively defend. Those divine-ranked experts were taken away by those sacred beasts. In the end, it was almost 1 against 2, and they weren't able to fight at all. Not long after, the people from the Sage Pavilion were all killed. The rain of blood and fog shrouded the entire Yun residence. There were bloodstains everywhere in the courtyard, and the air was filled with the thick smell of blood. After the battle ended, Yin Jinwei let the fire spirit masters use their flames to burn the bloodstains. Then he let the water spirit masters wash it a few times before cleaning it up. When the people from the Sage Pavilion had arrived at the Yun clan, many of them had hidden and watched. They had originally thought that there would be an earth-shattering battle, and the Yun clan would disappear from the restless continent. They never thought that the battle would end so quickly, and the result was beyond their expectations. The Sage Pavilion was completely annihilated. When everyone saw this result, they were extremely shocked. They were extremely curious about the sudden appearance of the sacred beast. How could the Yun family have so many sacred beasts? Now that the Sage Pavilion had been destroyed, the entire continent's situation was going to change. Just as the Yun clan and the Sage Pavilion were fighting, the Gua clan and the Zhang clan were also fighting. The Zhang family thought that they had the upper hand and could kill the Gua family, so that they could snatch their assets. However, they didn't expect that not only did they fail to eliminate the Gua family, but they also lost their lives. It was obvious that their people had not returned yet. This was an excellent opportunity, but it was destroyed by a group of sacred beasts. Until the moment they died, they still didn't understand how all of this had happened. Both sides settled their opponents on this day. Soon after, those who didn't rush back to change their route to challenge the Backlands also replied one after another. They were all settled. The Sage Pavilion and the Zhang clan had been destroyed in just a few days. This news caused a huge uproar in the entire continent. Those were the two strongest forces in the restless continent. Although the Yun family and the Gua family were first-rate forces, there was still a certain gap between the two. Even if a first-rate force wanted to annex a second-rate force, it would take a long time, not to mention dealing with a second-rate force. Later on, people gradually came to know about the sacred beasts, and they finally understood why they were so fast. However, they also started to be curious about where the sacred beasts came from. However, what made them even more curious was the sudden appearance of the Yilin clan. There were quite a few people in the Yilin continent who knew of them, but this was the first time they had heard of the Yilin clan, and they were extremely curious about them. especially when he heard that this family was made up of many surnames. Furthermore, they had just arrived and had already received the protection of the Yun and Gua families. The strangest thing was that their assets were actually the assets of the Zhan family. Could it be that those sacred beasts belonged to the Yilin clan? Was that why they treated them so courteously? No matter how curious the people outside were, there wasn't much news about the Yilin clan. At this time, in a city not too far away from the Yun and Gua families, Sima Yue and the others were in a large house, instructing the servants to take inventory of the assets in each house. This was the property of the Zhan family in Ink City, and it was said to be one of the bigger ones. This house was one of the courtyards of the Zhan family. However, it was now Sima Yue's. They planned to set up the Yilin clan here. This place was not too far away from the Gua and Yun families, and was in a triangular shape. If anything happened to the Yilin clan, the Yun and Gua families would not be too far away. This Yilin clan was decided by everyone. A few days ago, Sima Yue, and Sima Yue went to a few places, and finally chose Ink City. After that, they informed Yun Jinwei and Gua Ximing, and brought everyone here. In a valley outside the city, those who had been drugged by Sima Yue were all brought out. She took out the antidote and let everyone sprinkle it in the air. When everyone smelled it, they slowly woke up. Sima Yue, what's going on? The Hua and Zhan family members woke up and shouted when they saw Sima Yue. It was obvious that everyone's memories were still stuck at the time before they were drugged. I said before that I would bring you all here. This process has to be kept a secret, and there's nothing else. Sima Yue said. Those people saw that the Sima family members were treated the same as them, and also saw an unfamiliar place. They could feel the spiritual energy that was many times denser, and asked happily, "This is the restless continent?" Sima Yue nodded, and then got Sima Yuyang to explain the situation to everyone. The people from the Yilin continent looked at Sima Yue with wide eyes after they heard it. Not only had she brought them here, she had even settled their future. They had initially thought that they would become wanderers after they came here, but now that they had the support of strong financial resources and the protection of two great powers, it was not impossible for them to gain a foothold here. I know that the clan leader has told you all to listen to the Sima family when you come here, but I'll say it first. We plan to establish a Yilin clan and form a new power with everyone, so that everyone can rely on to survive in this foreign continent. Everyone looked at each other and saw the same expression. They knew that no one knew about this before, and started to discuss it. Sima Yue waved her hands and got everyone to quiet down. She continued, the cultivation environment here is better than the Yilin continent, but at the same time, it is more cruel. If you want to survive here, you have to support each other. That's why we can't keep people here who are not loyal to us. I'll give you a chance to leave now. You don't have to care about the conditions that I gave you before, and you can leave freely. But whether you live or die in the future, it has nothing to do with us. She paused and looked at their reactions, then said, if you leave now, we won't say anything. But if you don't leave now, and do something that lets everyone down in the future, then I'm sorry, we'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. We'll also let you know what it means to beg for death. Her words carried an aura of power, letting everyone know that she was not just saying it. If anyone really did something that let everyone down, they would definitely not have a good ending. We're willing to stay with everyone. Many people expressed their views. They were all smart people, and naturally knew that in this kind of world, it was impossible for outsiders like them to live a good life. Now that they finally had a good environment, how could they give it up? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.